You know, that reminds me of one time I was trying to play Resident Evil 7 with Kyle. Okay, one time I was trying to play Resident Evil 7 with Kyle, and he thought it would be funny to, like, immediately as we turned on the game, to switch the language settings to Japanese. But as much of a weeb as he is, he could not read that, and neither could Jackson or I. So then we just spent another 10 minutes fumbling through menus before even starting the game, trying to figure out how to undo what he did.
Nice.
The bastard.
The astard.
The astard.
The astard.
What?
The astard. You know,
so how many laws have you almost broken today?
Only a couple. You know, just as a treat.
Just as a treat, just a few, yeah.
Just a few, you know. They're all, I mean, that's just today, though. Like, I'm not even telling you all the things that I've done in the past, which are beyond the statute of limitation, so you can't charge me for it.
These are things you should not be admitting on a live stream. Are we live? Have you just like copped to a bunch of criminal activity? Oh, here's the link. I found it. Who's watching? Is anyone there? Oh, Kean, no scrubs just yet, but maybe later.
Yeah, there's no scrubs in this chat.
Especially in Spider-Man.
We don't like scrubs here. And we can say that because he's not here right now.
Scrubs are fire. When he is here, we'll pretend he's really great and we love him. Suburb of the Damned.
Suburb of the Damned.
The success of the broadcast depends on you, Crypto.
I got what right? Oh, did I pronounce Cian's name right? Did I get it?
Did you pronounce Cian's names right?
If the army want to stop the broadcast, they'll have to take out those transmitters first.
Someone was like, Xavier almost gets arrested. It's Always Sunny intro plays.
Nice. It's a good intro.
Well, you know what? That's a good bit to throw into another video later. I can make some jokes with that.
Almost got arrested? True story, not clickbait. Story time.
Story time.
Story time.
That'll just be the title of like a fucking stream highlights, just to trick people into watching it.
Mm-hmm. Another story, another stream highlight story time that should be like a title would be. Imagine a stream highlights video whose title is Apology Video.
Apology video. ...
I didn't want to make this video. I didn't imagine that I'd ever have to do this. But here I am.
You gotta make sure to like
6 ad breaks.
6 ad breaks. You gotta make sure to like talk really slowly and quietly with no editing at all, as like just a shitty vlog, and you're wearing like a jacket and sweatpants, and you go, "I'm terribly sorry for what I did to make this video. I understand that it was wrong." Like, you just like completely ham it up, and then everyone on Twitter will be like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't believe him," and then they'll dox me or something. You know?
Yeah, and of course you and every 5 seconds you look down at the script you written, even though you say in the video that that it's unscripted.
Why not just write a script? Like, just actually fucking be like, yeah, I wrote a script for this apology video. Like, why would that be bad? I don't understand. Like, if you made a mistake, wouldn't it be, like, best to explain it in a way where you're not just off the cuff, just kind of rambling?
Well, it's more authentic if you're
No, it's
you don't
not.
have a
It's
script.
fake as fuck. It's fake it just comes off as like, oh, I'll just like ramble and like, you know, just try to look sad and sorry in front of a camera, like, you know. Do you think if you dab enough, it'll actually end up building more muscle mass in your shoulders?
No.
Oh.
But that shouldn't stop you from trying. Let's just be clear.
I'm dabbing right now with 2 fidget spinners in my hands. You hear that sound? You hear that sound? That's the sound of victory. It's the sound of a guy who gets laid.
Well, listen, you know, just as long as you keep your nails short, everything's good, you know?
You are correct, sir. I don't hate anything more than I hate guys with long fingernails just because they don't deal with it. Like, we have a mutual friend who, like, sometimes I have to yell at him to remember to trim his nails because sometimes they'll get a little pointy and he'll start, like, having, like, weird Dracula hands. There was a worker at my school who used to have a real bad problem with that, to the point that his, like, thumbnails were, like, almost as, like, double the length they should be.
Would I know who that person is?
It was really creepy looking. No, it was at college.
Okay.
That guy would never trim his nails, and they were disgusting. I hated it. Fellas, it's okay to give a shit about your body. Like, trim your fucking unibrow.
Fellas, is it gay to have good hygiene?
It's totally fine to trim your hair you got down there, because believe me, you have a lot more than you think you do, and no one wants to go messing around with that. It's disgusting. You can pluck your unibrow, you know, like, yes, everyone does notice it, and all it takes is, like, tweezers and, like, 15 seconds to completely fix that problem. Like, trim your fingernails so that it doesn't look like a horror movie when you type at a keyboard. Fellas, is it gay to not be a gross weirdo?
Fellas, is it gay to wipe your butt?
Fellas, is it gay to wipe your ass? I don't know, it seems pretty effeminate to me. Real man just goes skidding along, if you know what I'm saying.
That was my favorite Reddit post, was like a relationship post about, like, my husband says it's gay to wipe his butt.
Really?
Yeah. It's like one of those, like relationship help posts, but it says, my husband doesn't wipe good because he says it's gay to touch his butt.
That man has problems.
And it's like...
Where's my other fidget spinner? I know I have one. Where's the other one? Did I lose it in the couch cushion? But how am I gonna spin them both at the same time and everyone will be impressed by my skill? Damn it.
The real skill that you have, that they should be impressed by, is you still having a fidget spinner in 2020.
Well, I just found it laying around in, like the basement. Like, it was in my mom's backpack. I guess it's hers. So I just have been playing with it. Yeah. I like this mission, by the way. This one was, like, hard in the original game. By the way, I actually... in the time since last week, or did we do a stream last week?
We did.
Okay, in the time since, I bought this game and then played all the way through it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good game.
Because I was like, I felt bad that I was only experiencing it through, like, you know,
delayed
kind of, stream delay with no sound. So I went back and played through the whole thing myself so I could actually get the experience. And I love this remake. They did a good job. If there's any 2 things I can think of that I don't like about it, it's I think that the some of the guns don't sound as good. Like, the sound effects aren't as, like, powerful sounding. Like, the ion detonator has a way better sound effect in the original version, and so does the, Actually, you know what? All of the guns except for, like, the Zap-O-Matic, the electric gun, The lightning one? That one sounds better in this one, but every other gun does not. And also, I think they skipped out on the music license, so they didn't buy the credit songs. So there's 2 really awesome songs that were made like for the game that were in the credits, and neither of them are in the remakes version. Instead, it's just generic score music, and it's just like way less fun. Damn, dude, you got blowed up.
No one else got blowed up.
Dead ass.
Your new video.
Oh, no, it's fine. I fixed it. I trimmed out the part that was dubious. I've corrected the error. Boy, the chat is being real quiet. I think they're just listening to us talk. Come on, comment, guys, to ask us questions.
So, hey, you know, if you want to talk about something, I have a topic of conversation I thought you might like to talk about. So this is a few months old, but did you... I remember reading this about, like, the new Quibi show, the Quibi show about... with Anna Kendrick and the sex doll?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
And it has, like, 11-minute episodes?
Yeah. And, like, do you want to know what the backstory behind that show is? It makes you feel... It will make you cringe so hard, I promise.
Didn't I hear... I feel like I heard something about Dan Harmon, the Rick and Morty guy, was involved.
Yeah, no, it's his wife.
What?
His wife wrote and created the show. And it's semi-autobiographical. Because...
What?
Yes, because the main character... So, the character who Anna Kendrick is dating, right? Is canonically in the universe of the show, the creator of Rick and Morty.
What?
So, like... And it's based upon a real-life incident where Anna Kendrick's character had to deal with, you know, her husband, Dan Harmon, buying a sex doll.
Wait, they were already together and he bought one after they were married?
Yes, like in the show. Yeah.
Maybe you don't need to make a TV show about everything in your life.
And it's like a weird feminist. They like to pretend that it's like being feminist, all about like. Oh yeah, so it's so feminist to show about a woman and her insecurities because her boyfriend bought a sex doll.
Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. That's absurd. And the character is not Dan Harmon, but it is a fictional.
No, it's referred to specifically as the guy who created Rick and Morty.
That's the character's name in the show.
I forget if it's specifically Rick and Morty, but the character is specifically like a Dan Harmon type person.
Yeah,
and it's like
that's weird.
Yeah, and it's like deeply revealing about like the creators in a way that nobody wanted.
Again, you're allowed to have some parts of your life be private. You don't need to make a hilarious TV show about it.
And apparently, the whole reason for this was that Dan Harmon has a foot thing, so like he bought like the sex doll to like caress its feet or something while you know jerking off.
Okay, again, this is like to me like people who feel the need to tweet about literally everything that happens in their life, to the point that like. Sometimes it gets, like, embarrassing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to tweet about, like, the size of the shit you just took. Or, like, you don't need to tweet about how you just had a fight with your dad or something.
You don't need to make a TV show about your sex doll. And... which is a thing that happened.
Yeah, it's a thing that happened. It's like, you know, people who just, like, don't have any fucking filter, or like, it reminds me of, like, people who think they need to make a canceled thread for all of their friends when they have an argument, instead of just, like, talking to them in private like a fucking adult who has social skills. I may or may not be talking about someone that we know.
What are social skills, anyways? I don't have any.
Oh, by the way, I love that addition to this game is that fucking, like, glide skateboard thing. That thing
it's
sick.
So fun.
That thing is so cool, and it makes traversal so much more fun.
And, like, less annoying. That was a big thing with the original that I kind of didn't like, was the whole, you know, flying very slowly, and then, like, doing the little doing the thing where you had to be like...
Yeah, that little air pump to make the jetpack pump again, so... And you're just getting, like, these little farts of exhaust to make the jetpack keep going, but, like... that was especially frustrating when you had, like, a time limit to get somewhere, and, like, the jetpack is slow as shit, and, like, you're not even really flying, you're gliding. Like, just lazily just listing along. So, like, when there's like, oh, you have to get to the other side of town in 1 minute, it's like, fuck my life. Even in, like, the sequels, they never really figured that out. I'm glad that this game figured out a way to, like, add because what's cool about the Dash 2 is when you do it while you're using the jetpack, it'll re-up the thrust on the jetpack, so you can kind of, like, go up and down. It's sort of like the way you can glide in Batman, like, Arkham Origins or whatever, where you just, like, dive and then go back up. You can kind of do that in this game now, and it, like, lets you get across, like, long distances way faster. Hello?
So, like, here's my question. If you were to make a deeply embarrassing TV show about you, what would it be about?
See, I'm a person who has, like, functional social skills and, like, common sense, so I don't feel like I should really necessarily answer that.
That's why you should answer it.
Well, you answer first, then.
I would make someone who, I would make a show about somebody who is too smart for his own good.
How humble.
Exactly.
I guess my TV show would be about, just a guy who just never fucking thinks anything through, and then just is always getting into situations that were probably avoidable. Like, you know, trying to not be friends with certain people or date certain people when there was a bajillion red flags that would go poorly, and then it goes, like, immensely poorly.
But that shows some, like... But here's the thing, when you're doing one of these shows, you can't do something that, like, would be interesting or like, have some insights. It just needs to be about your weird shit. Like
okay, then it'll be a show about a guy who just eats so much spicy food that he hasn't had a solid poop in 6 years.
Exactly! And his problems that his not having solid poops cause in his daily life. Now you're getting it. Like...
Just constant, everlasting diarrhea.
And the show is about your diarrhea. Like, and, because, like, in order to be, like, one of these shitty shows, it has to have no value for anybody who is not you.
It has to, yeah, it has
but
to
also
not be
deeply embarrassing and very much too much information.
Well, there you go.
I would watch. Would anybody else? Would you watch the not solid poop show starring Godzilla?
The diuretic adventures. The diuretic adventures of some YouTuber who just needs a better diet. Hi, Anna!
Speaking of the adventures of a YouTuber...
Anna and I were very scared today about a thing that was... Yeah. Almost broke a law. Didn't break a law. Came very close. Also almost broke the Patreon terms and conditions. But thankfully was smart enough to go back and fix it. Hey, hold on, take a second to, like, replenish your shields, man. You don't gotta keep fighting all of the time. Like, go hide behind a rock or something. Toshi F. Spider-Man says, it's time for Xavier to simp on stream.
Exactly!
Yeah, that's right. You know what?
I simp for The Simpsons. That's what I simp for.
Is it not okay to simp for, like, your wife? Is that, like... Is it...
Fellas, is it gay to have a good relationship with your wife?
Fellas, does it mean you're a simp if you're nice to one woman?
Yes, it does. It does.
Fellas, does it make you less of a man to not beat women?
I'm not gonna touch that one.
Take out those towers! Attack!
Oh no! It's the robots.
Oh yeah, the Zach's name on the new patron list is a reference to one of these streams.
We have only a few moments until the army destroys.
On because you know how I always change Zach's name to something goofy on the patron list. This episode it was Iron hanging out with my girlfriend, you guys, Ninja. Man, these robots are so much cooler in the remake because they can move like way faster and are like way scarier. And they have like more weapons. David's in the zone now. He's focused on gameplay.
That's how I became the gamer. Plot twist, I'm the gamer!
It was him!
The misogyny is flowing through my veins.
You just took like a shot of it, like you injected it in your veins, like, and it's just a needle that says misogyny on the side, and you just injected it straight in, and like just this black ooze snakes up your veins, and you can see it through your skin.
It's like the black ooze from Prometheus.
You injected straight.
No, it's like the beginning of Prometheus. Remember when the guy drinks the the black goo and then descends into the cavern? It's like that, but that's the misogyny. And I start choking, and then I like fall over, and like I'm reborn as like the master of this race or something.
You're reborn as the gamer.
Yes, and then I fall down into the chemical vats of Ace Chemicals.
That's also true. Yes, I've been making Anna watch Naruto because.
Oh no! I'm so sorry for the both of you.
Honestly, like I kind of like it. And like, well, I just kept thinking about like all the anime that Anna told me that she likes, and I kept thinking like, this kind of reminds me of Naruto a little bit here, and. That either means that all anime is just really similar to all other anime, or that means that I just like know her really well and was able to figure it out. But I recommended it to her, and then we watched a little bit of it, and because I watched it in like high school with a friend who like insisted I just sit through the entire thing with him, and like I don't know, I didn't like it very much back then because like I just thought that the pacing was obnoxious. I thought, like, a lot of it was kind of laughable and silly. Like, I was just making fun of a lot of it. Right? But, like, I watched it again with Anna recently and started, like, kind of appreciating stuff about it. And like, hey, you know, I know what the show's flaws are, but now that I'm actually trying to look for the things that are, like, good about it, yeah, there's some stuff that's interesting. I kind of like some aspects of that show. And apparently she liked it a lot too, because even after we stopped watching it, she's like, can I keep watching it anyway? And I'm like, just don't get 50 episodes ahead of me or something.
I mean, you've already seen it all anyway, so it shouldn't matter for you.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, I've already seen the majority of it. It's just that, like, you know, once you get to a certain point, it'll all be new stuff to me.
Tower 1 is under fire!
Tower 1! It's okay, man. You just gotta survive for 20 seconds. They're not gonna be able to destroy the towers in the time they have. Wait, I stand corrected. That guy did a lot of damage with that rocket launcher. Skateboard over there, spaceman!
Marvelous! So is anybody in the chat saying anything interesting tonight?
They said, Xavier, if you ever get the chance, you should watch Terror in Resonance on Netflix. It's incredibly well written. I've never heard of that. What is that? Terror in Resonance. Is that an anime? Or is that, like, I don't know, some indie thing? Or is that, like, a Black Mirror TV show? Oh, I have hiccups now.
Why do you have hiccups now?
I don't know. Because I ate spicy food earlier.
Why did you eat spicy food? Oh, it's the
Scrubula! He said that's a lot of damage.
It's the who?
The Scrubula. The Scrubula mix. Scrub fella man. Scrub
who?
Guy. The Scrubulator.
Who?
Captain Scrubula.
Who?
William.
Who?
The Australian guy that's in some of these streams.
Oh, we're going to Area 42!
Hell yeah! Do you think they, like... Oh, can you change to the crypto, like the classic skin?
I can, but I won't.
Oh, this is a good mission, by the way.
So, Scrubs,
Iron Ninja
if you're listening, why aren't you in the group?
You can join the chat, Scrubula man.
The Discord server is open, you know.
You know, we opened it so you could join it. But Iron Ninja asks, also, Xavier, are you going to try out the Avengers beta when it's public? I don't know. Probably not. Just wait till the fucking game comes out, you know?
What game?
Avengers, the Square Enix game that's just chock full, filled to burst, literally about to explode with microtransactions.
There, oh look, it's the mission where I hunt down my previous incarnation.
Well, I'm like, I feel like it's weird that Crypto in this game is like surprised that the previous Crypto isn't alive, because they only clone you, like the Furons only clone the guy when they're dead. So like, the fact that this Crypto is here at all is bad news for the previous one. My favorite Crypto skins are the BFG one that looks kind of like one of the imps from Doom. That one's cool. I really like the like classic Crypto one from the original game, just because like I like nostalgia. I appreciate that they kept that in, and you know, it's a simpler design than the remake costume. Davil, remember, be careful of those secret agent guys. You can't get too close to them, or else it'll like blow your disguise. Okay, well, all right. Just gonna. They know that you're spotted. They know that you're an alien. They're shooting. Man, every time anime gets talked about, it's the same fucking three things always end up getting talked about. It's someone always goes Cowboy Bebop, or Attack on Titan, or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Why can't they talk about Bizarre? Why can't they talk about JoJo's like non-Bizarre Adventure? Like the time you just went to the store and bought some groceries.
JoJo's Mundane Adventure, where he just like. Yeah, he just goes to the DMV to get his plates renewed.
Sounds good to me.
Or like my favorite episode of JoJo's Mundane Adventure, where he realizes that he didn't have enough plates set for the dinner party he's having, so he has to go get some paper plates from the cabinet.
You know, you joke, but I would totally watch that.
But they're all just the JoJo characters who are just like doing superpowers and shit and like super dramatic and like hyper animated doing these like boring things.
Exactly.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of cool anime out there. It's just that like the people who claim to be into it are into like the most surface level, like same 5 or 6 things, and only recommend those same 5 or 6 things over and over. And then like when you ask them to watch anything else, they're like, "What? I've never heard of that."
It's like if you say you're a movie fan and you ask them like, "Hey, what's your favorite what's your favorite movie by like a director that people might not know about?" And it's like, I like Interstellar by Christopher Nolan. He's an up and coming you might have heard of, and I also like I'm really into indie movies, so I like Quentin Tarantino.
These two guys you've probably never heard of. They're really big in the indie scene. It's like everyone's fucking heard of that. Everyone. David, what does poggers mean?
I have no fucking clue.
I don't know what does it mean? It's used to express excitement during a game when something exciting occurs. Okay, alright, well, I thought it was like a sex thing.
I mean, that's what I was gonna guess too, but like, what do I know?
Yeah, what do either of us know about the sex?
I have a rifle. Her name is...
I know nothing about sex. Oh, wait, I know everything about sex. I know all there is to know about sex.
I found this website that just has documentaries about sex. Like it's just documentaries about like, you know, like a pizza delivery guy's there, but this woman, I remember she didn't have enough money for the whole pizza, and so they were like, let's maybe work out some kind of trade, and then they proceeded to have intercourse in exchange for the pizza, but by the time they were finished, the pizza had been cold, and I don't know. I feel like
that just really sounds like poor planning.
But
you know,
it was a really good documentary. I really like the camera work and the direction. I like the visual storytelling. There's a lot of really great use of cinematic language.
I mean, everybody. I mean, listen, like that just sounds like poor planning to me. You know, like everybody knows you have sex, you eat the pizza, and then you have sex. You know.
Well, but you don't want to do it on a full stomach, because then, you know, make you sick. So it's like strenuous activity, man.
But like, wouldn't you order the pizza? Again, I just think it's poor planning.
Maybe just put the pizza in the oven so that like the heat gets maintained.
Yeah, there you go.
Know? But wouldn't that... I love the idea of that. That totally breaks the flow of the scenarios. Like they're like, well, maybe I can order another extra large sausage. And then he's like, yeah, but you want to put this pizza in the oven so it doesn't get cold. And she's like, oh, yeah, the kitchen's right over here. And then just set it in there. He's like, where do you want me to put this 2-liter Coke? And she's like, just in the fridge. No, not that side. That's the freezer side. The other side. Yeah, that's the fridge side. Well, like behind the milk? No, not in front of it, so I'll know where it is later. Oh, okay, yeah.
And then they start having
so anyway, back to the sex. Like, just completely ruin it.
I mean, that's what, like, it is in real life, so, you know.
That is exactly how that goes in real life. There's a, like, that's kind of the fun thing about that stuff, is when you get into the silly, mundane, like, just goofballery that happens in between.
Wonder if anybody'd notice if I went AWOL.
You know, there's a precise there's like a short film by like a YouTuber that I like, which is called
How not to hide a dead body?
No, it's called it's called like Squicks, and it's all about like this precise sort of scenario. It's about like somebody like this couple like tries to like spice it up in the bedroom, but then it just results that like there's all this just stuff that happens, you know, like. And it's all about how that's sort of like just as like it's just as important to do that stuff.
It's like the goofy little humanizing.
Yeah, that's what it really is in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking from experience, that's the fun part, really. Or a fun part. You know? Just being silly and feeling comfortable with someone, you know? I wasn't expecting this Destroy All Humans stream to turn into some kind of podcast about, like, sexual encounters.
Well, you were the one who brought up porn, so, like, I blame you, you know?
Okay, but I brought it up as just, like, a quick joke, but then, like, we actually started having a legitimate conversation about it.
I know! I blame you!
You can't call yourself a true anime fan unless you hosted an anime club in high school where everyone just talked about like Dragon Ball and it was really cringy, and like none of the people in there had actually ever seen any others than that.
You know, at my college they used to have. My college used to have an anime club, but then it was like
school shut it down.
I mean, I think they kind of did, like, because it was like no longer an official club like my second year, and like they were all like having like off-campus meetings, and then suddenly like they all just gave up.
Oh,
so like we don't have an anime club anymore.
Is it because one kid was like, guys, let's turn this into a Bible Black club?
What's Bible Black? I want you to explain this to me.
Nothing. What? No, it's nothing.
What's nothing though?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
What's fine though? Tell me. Tell me.
There's an old internet meme where like people would go onto like Christian forums and stuff, and like you know, they would ask, hey, you guys want to join my Bible Black club? And like a lot of people would like immediately, because a lot of people would just like you know like more conservative kind of sheltered kids would just hear Bible and think, oh yeah, sure, I'll join that. That sounds wholesome and fun.
Uh-huh.
And then they'll find out that Bible Black is an anime that's pretty infamous for not being safe for work, and it's about a bunch of high school girls who, I mean, I haven't actually seen it, so I don't know the specifics, but I know it involves a lot of really hardcore scenes, and then a lot of like satanic imagery and like demons and shit. I remember Matt from Two Best Friends Play would always talk about this, and I think eventually he played the Bible Black game on his YouTube channel, and then had to, like, fucking, like, just censor out, like, every other screen.
Wow.
I haven't watched one of Matt's videos in a long-ass time. I think I'm, like, still kind of salty about how, like, my collaboration with him kind of fell through real bad. And then you say something, and then the conversation continues. William, will you fucking get your ass in here?
Yeah! We need your ass, not the rest of your body, though. Just your ass.
Just get your whole ass. Just plop your ass into the Discord call. Just like flop it in, and it'll
just
it'll
sit
just
on the
land
computer
on the
with your butt.
Just insert your ass into the screen, and then it'll just like fucking Sadako from the VHS tape will just come out of the screen on our end, and we'll just start screaming.
I mean, that would make the stream more interesting, you know? Lord knows it's not interesting right now. Thanks to you, William.
Squilliam. You son of a gun.
Squidward.
Spilled word.
Is there a better cartoon character than Squidward?
Hank Hill.
Who's that?
Again, let's see what.
Ah! Ah!
Hello?
Hey guys, it's Burn Time. How you fucking going?
He's doing the accent again. Oh, I hate when he does it.
Oh yeah, mate.
William, I really hate that fake Australian accent you do. You do it like all the time. It's not funny anymore.
I mean,
Alright, sorry. Yeah, I'll go back. Oh fuck, I'm doing it again! I was gonna go back to the Texan accent, but like I just switched to Australian again.
I mean, if you really think about it,
Texans
work? And Australians are very similar.
That's very true. I agree. We both sound really fucking weird, and
you both love hanging out with giant spiders.
And that too, yeah. Except Texans don't have any kangaroos as pets or otherwise.
They do. They're just non-native.
William, have you ever gotten into a fist fight with a kangaroo?
More FPS rewards.
Those fucking things are tough, man. They'll punch the shit out of you, and they've got, like, really nasty hooked claws. They'll fucking bore your stomach out.
I've seen someone just throw a punch at a kangaroo, like have an actual punch on with a kangaroo on YouTube.
In person? Oh, okay.
I
was gonna say, if you said it in person, I was gonna be like, did you just look out your window someday?
I hate the fact that people think Australia is a desert just because we do have a big-ass desert in the middle of the country. Because some people genuinely think it's a desert. And, like, in pretty much all forms of media that portray Australia, it's just a desert.
Well, it's like how...
It's like how it's a desert that's big enough to film Mad Max movies. It's a hell of a desert.
Yeah, I mean... like, not all of it is a desert. It's like calling America, I don't know, it's like saying Americans just eat hot dog and watch baseball games. Like,
I mean, we do that, you know?
I'm a baseball game right now with a hot dog in my mouth.
I have a hot dog in my mouth right now,
nice,
you know?
That sounds like fun. Man, I don't want to get on the stream earlier because I've just been stressing out. Or like de-stressing from 7 weeks worth of stress. I've been so fucking burnt out, and I don't know. I've just been noticing that like I haven't been as myself on these streams as I could have been the past couple of weeks. Like I've been trying too hard to be a bit funny, or like trying to I don't know, force my personality a little bit just so that like doesn't carry through, just so I can be a little bit more entertaining.
I feel like
and I'm just like, man, this isn't the way to go about things. So
I feel like I've been like a little bit low energy and sad and like not as like talkative in these streams as I could be. Look, Crypto found his dead brother. Oh no! Look what they've done to us. Laid us open like an animal.
You know, it reminds me. It's funny. It's like what you say about Australia is like the same thing they say about like. Also about they say about like Mexico in American movies.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's right. Yeah, because they always portray it as this like orange country.
Like, they color code it as like a sepia tone to make it look more harsh and dangerous.
Oh my god, dude! Have I shown you what like? Have I shown you the one picture I took during the bushfires and how everything looked so orange? Mm-hmm. Have I shown you that, Xavier?
Yes.
If you did, I can't remember it.
Fuck, I'll send it in chat right now. I gotta find it though. But like, I just look out my window one day and I'm like, this looks exactly like a fucking Mexican movie. This is scary. Like, it's orange as fuck. I sent it to David. I'll see if I can rummage through and find the photo.
You're pushing me over the fucking line, Hagrid!
You're pushing me over the fucking line. Dude, that video is so golden.
You're a wizard, Harry!
I'm a wizard! I can't be a wizard. Wait, no, that's the wrong one.
I'm not a wizard, I'm Harry!
That's the line from the movie that I just said.
I'm not a wizard.
Well, J.K. Rowling confirmed that video was canon.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if she actually did.
I mean, J.K. Rowling is also kind of a huge, terrible person, so, you know, whatever.
Crypto, get out of there.
Well, just Harry, you're a wizard! Oh, wow, yeah. Look, that
do you see
color-graded scrubs. I'm going to describe it to the audience. It's a picture of him pointing the camera out the window, and it's so orange outside that it looks like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, it's just the Michael Bay movie. That's what the bushfires were.
It's just missing a really harsh blue lens flare to offset it.
Is that what Australia was at the start of the year? Just like Michael Bay trying out practical effects?
Yeah, he was just shooting a film in secret, and like it was part of the photography. We don't have enough
money to pay the editors. Let's just fucking
make the
It was part of him shooting A Quiet Place Part 2.
The fire was squarely not an accident. He was just like, man, this is some great footage.
Wow, for the edit,
great coverage of this forest fire.
I need this to be as authentic as possible. We're going for a new route here.
Gotta get lots of coverage for the edit.
Burn the fucking forest, wait about 3 weeks, and then start filming, because that way the country would have been orange as fuck. And that would go great with our movie.
And then he's got
what about the editors, Michael? We don't have enough money for the editors, Bob!
You just start seeing the forest fire footage, and then there's just like a badly edited in transformer with a flamethrower. Fucking Inferno! Burn, Maximo Scum!
So that's why
he transforms into a 19-foot-tall giant fire ant with a cannon for a face.
So that's why it's taking so long for Transformers 6 to come out.
I'm not gonna lie, The World 2020 feels like a Michael Bay movie where everything just happens just for the sake of it happening. So you have the bushfires, and now you have COVID.
You know, it also makes sense, because much like a Michael Bay movie, 2020 has given me a headache.
Well, you know what? Michael Bay is trying to get a movie greenlit right now where it's about what if COVID just doesn't go away. It takes place like 4 years in the future where like society is like falling apart, and he's trying to make like some fucking action movie about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he was trying to shoot... No, he was trying to shoot during COVID, and like all the unions were like, don't do that! This is really dangerous and bad!
Well, because, yeah, you want it to feel authentic, so you might as well shoot it during the thing that'll probably be over in 4 months if you don't get to it. And then, like, then the footage can look. You can just like edit it or change it around to look like it's in the future. But like, yeah, didn't they? I think didn't they issue a statement like, "Do not work on this movie, or we will like kick you out of the union"?
Yeah, they hit a do not work order.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It got rescinded,
but
like still.
So are they still filming that?
I don't know. I think they might be.
I hope not. That's
I know that they
terrible idea for a movie.
I know that in like Australia, they also got around to filming like a low budget sort of like Stephen King movie, like Children of the Corn. Because first of all, Australia didn't have COVID that bad, and also it's a small movie, so like it's not like a Star Wars movie with a crew of thousands. So
yeah, my biggest concerns though are like, is that movie gonna become like really weird and fucked up and depressing if like America just never gets its shit together and this is just permanent?
Wouldn't it be really funny if it was like an anti-masker movie though?
Oh my god, that would be horrible.
Can you imagine how hilarious that would be, though?
I don't have to live my life like this. Ain't nobody control how I live. I ain't putting a mask on if I don't want to. And that's the way it's gonna be. And then, like, the credits start rolling.
As he's coughing and dying in a hospital.
No, that was supposed to be the theme song to it, but sure, let's go with that.
Then the title plays, "Dumb Piece of Shit," directed by Michael Bay. The title has multiple meanings. It works on different levels. It's about the character, but about the film too.
That'd be fucking great, though.
Oh, you know what? Actually, you guys just reminded me a second ago. Speaking of movies filmed during quarantine that were really low budget, there's this hour-long movie that I saw on Amazon the other day called, I guess it's like on like this extra service called like Shudder or something for like like horror stuff.
Yep.
But if you can find a way to check it out, it's really cool. It's called The Host. No relation to the
Stephenie Meyer movie,
or the other movie by the guy who did what was it? Parasite. Not that guy. There's a movie called there's a movie called The Host, and it came out like a couple weeks ago, I think. And you guys know that shitty movie Unfriended?
Is that the one about the Skype
everyone's in a Skype call, and then a ghost starts killing them and stuff. Just imagine that, but good. Where it has like, well, because it's about a bunch of friends that are like holding a seance during a Zoom call, and like, for one, they actually took the time to really, I think they honestly filmed the entire movie on laptop cameras, so it's really authentic. They did not do the just, we'll set up a GoPro and fake it. They actually, and like from an editing standpoint, like, you know, they're way more clever about hiding the cuts. They don't keep putting in like a dumbass fake static filter to like cut to a different angle of the same actor or use a different take. They're very clever about the pacing, because like I think Zoom calls have like an hour-long limit, right? Where they'll be like, okay, you're.
My Zoom calls go for 3 hours, because that's how my classes go for.
I think it's only if you have like the trial version or something, right? But like I remember getting like a message while I was in one, like for my because my aunt had like a gender reveal party for her baby, but it was like through a Zoom call.
Oh, right, yeah, you were telling us about that.
Yeah. So, like, there was, like, a notification, like, oh, this Zoom call's, the time's running, it's only gonna last, in, like, a few more minutes. The one in the movie, like, the movie's exact length is the length of the Zoom call's timer running out. So,
cool.
like, as it gets closer to the end of the movie, a notification will pop up on screen saying, hey, the call's gonna end soon. As the characters are, like, dealing with spooky ghost bullshit. But like I think all the actors honestly did just film it in their house at their laptop, and just they made an entire movie in quarantine without anyone really getting near each other, and it's insane.
Sounds pretty cool.
And like the dialogue is pretty well written because it feels very natural and like unscripted. Because there's a lot of just like really well done sequences of characters just kind of chilling out and talking for a little bit to just kind of set the tone, and it honestly feels like just getting into like a big Discord call with your friends or something, and just like, you know, catching up. How was your day? Where are you right now? What's going on? Like, it felt like real conversations I've had with friends online. And like the dialogue is it's very natural and believable, and then like the ghost stuff, like the scary stuff, is not a bunch of cheap, shitty jump scares. Sometimes they'll just like do something really slow and horrible that happens over the course of like 30 seconds, and like you want to look away but you can't. Like there was a bunch of spots where I kept going, like there would be a quiet moment and I'd go, "Rawr," because I was expecting a jump scare, and then like one wouldn't happen. So
that's the worst.
It spends a lot of time. It spends a lot of time building tension too, because I'm expecting jump scares, and when they don't happen, I'm like caught off guard.
That's like when I saw Hereditary at the start of the year with my friends. Funny thing, we saw it at like 5 a.m. at a sleepover, so that was fun.
Oh no.
Yeah, so we kept watching it and we kept anticipating a jump scare, like a ghost or something to pop up. Because, like, at the start of the movie, you see all of those stuff and you're like, okay, I know where this movie's going. It doesn't go that way at all. And so, like, throughout the movie, you're just expecting something to happen, but it never does. And even more so, the camera is so unsettling because it's so steady, it's focused, and it's slow in its movements. And that just makes you even more paranoid because you're looking all around the screen trying to find something, trying to anticipate some sort of jump scare. But that never happens, and when it happens, it's done so subtly that you don't even notice it until it pops up. And when it pops up, or like when you see it, you're even more freaked out because you're like, "What the fuck is going to happen now?" It's so good.
Well, that's another thing about this movie. The host that I appreciate is that sometimes the scares would be like really subtle shit happening that's like kind of hard to spot. Where like, you know, it has all these different cameras. Same time, like you can see like 6 characters at once sometimes, and like that's a lot of information for your eye to keep track of. So sometimes they'll insert like something creepy and like subtle in the background of one of the cameras, but there's like a different person talking, or 2 other people are having the conversation or something. So like the creepy thing is in the camera of a person who you wouldn't be looking at, so your eye is just constantly like darting around all these screens, like trying to keep a lookout for something suspicious.
That's the
and like
worst, dude.
They'll like very subtly and cleverly put in like kind of creepy stuff. And like you know, when there is like a pop outy kind of jump scare thing, it's like it's done in a way where it's kind of telegraphed like intentionally, where you know it's about to happen, so it's not like as cheap.
Right.
Dab
so,
on
it's
the
a
haters.
Movie, and
Dab on the haters.
Oh, bye, Zach. Thanks
Bye,
for hanging
Zach.
out.
See you later, bud.
See you, boyo. But
Have a good
I'm
night,
sorry. I'm sorry. We have to we have to say goodbye to Zach because he's talking to his
girlfriend. Hey, you know, good for him though.
Zach has a girlfriend? I never knew that.
I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me. Oh, hey, the edit I did for the video works now. Because I went back and recut the video.
Wait, edit for what? I zoned out for a second. Sorry.
Well, Did you hear about the thing that happened today?
Look, I went on Twitter and I saw you post someone retweet commented your thing about it, but I never like actually read it because I had just woken up, and I refreshed my Twitter page, and when I did that, the thing just went away and I couldn't find it again. So I'm just like,
okay,
I'll ask him.
There's a little bit of a goofy oopsie where
goofy
there's this other. Yeah, there's an oopsie. There's this other YouTuber who I follow named Rebel Taxi, and he used to do like he used to do raffles on his Patreon like all the time, where he'd just like, you know, pick a random person on Patreon to like request a review topic.
Right.
So I thought that was okay. I thought you could do review or just like raffles on Patreon. You know, just pick someone who donated, right? But apparently Patreon at some point realized that could count as a lottery and illegal gambling, so they changed their terms and conditions at some point and like stopped allowing that. And like, I guess that's the reason he stopped doing those videos, because I haven't seen one of those in like a year now or something, right? And it just didn't occur to me. I just thought he wasn't like doing them for a little while. But I messaged him personally and asked like, hey, can you do raffles on Patreon? And he's like, no, they froze my account and told me I was breaking their terms and conditions and stuff. And he says that eventually they unlocked his account when he took down all of the posts about it and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, not only did I break a rule on Patreon on accident, I may have also broken local state laws regarding gambling.
Jesus.
Because it counts as a lottery, because you're paying, even if it's $1 and the prize is a stuffed animal, you're paying money for a random shot at winning a prize.
Yeah.
And I guess it didn't really occur to me to look at it from that way. So I went back and I cut out the section of the video saying to enter you donate to the Patreon. So I just like sliced out like 10 seconds of the video, and then I went through and then just put in like in the description like, hey, all you got to do is comment, and then also put in the pinned comment. I just want to make it as clear as possible that the way to enter the raffle is just to leave a comment, because you know that's free, and that's not breaking the law.
That I'm technically entered because I commented.
Yes, you were technically entered because you commented.
Yes.
What would you comment? I bet it was something really like smart.
If you fucking won that, people would be shouting favoritism so bad, and also you wouldn't even give a fuck because you've never even seen that show.
I have never even seen a single Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ever.
I can imagine David just like, if he won the plushie, he would just take it and throw it like in the back of his closet and be like, whatever.
So what you're saying?
Like everyone else on Twitter is like,
is
what
that
the fuck, dude?
Maybe Scrubs Animate should enter just for fun.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't enter, or I'm choosing not to.
I'm not
specifically for that reason that Xavier mentioned, the whole favoritism thing.
Listen,
people will think that.
I'm not talking about you, William.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Scrubs Animate.
Oh, my alter ego, gotcha.
Yeah. You know, he's not you.
A really kooky, goofy, and quirky character. Hey guys, it's Scrubs Animate.
No, you're not Scrubs Animate. Scrubs Animate is some unknown person. We don't even know his true name. Xavier just pays him to make YouTube videos for him.
Right, yeah, because that's totally me.
And you know how jumpy these creatures can be.
You're just some rando we invited on these streams for no reason.
Good point.
That's true.
Try not to kill all of them.
It's not like you guys begged me to come on or anything.
No, it's absolutely not true.
I just needed friends, so I'm like, guys, please let me on. And that's how I got on.
And we were like, hey, this rando, look, it seems like he might make us look better by comparison.
It's not like 15 or so people were just like, hey, get Scrubs Animate on. And it's not like those exact same people witnessed you guys begging me to come on. No, that's not how it happened at all.
It even mixes cocktails at 5 o'clock sharp.
That cough. Probably wasn't intentional, but it adds to the effect.
Talking about Preach, Cruz, and Neckles. What a nerd.
Yeah, so what's been happening with you guys? How's COVID been treating you?
More stress.
Yeah, spoke about
depression, anxiety, fear, self-loathing. Hold on, let me get my thesaurus.
What's the synonym for feel bad? Oh, right. Severely depressed. Extremely stressed out. What else? What else? Just like going for like 30 minutes trying to find words that that
well,
mean
what
bad,
are words?
or, like
if you think
synonyms for
about
bad.
it, like philosophically,
Yeah.
what are words?
Words are things that you speak. I guess, I don't know.
Words are signs. That's what they are, you idiot.
Hey, yo, Diego's in chat. Yo,
Hey,
what up, man?
Diego!
It's been a long time no see in the streams. Welcome.
Dude, when was the last time Diego was in one of these streams?
I don't know, it's been a while.
How you doing, fella boy?
He's too busy having his own streams and, running a YouTube channel and all that bullshit,
Yeah.
He's too busy having a life. Unlike
Adult
us,
stuff. Look, man, I have a life.
Are you contradicting me?
Yeah.
Because that could be bad for your health. Not like it's not that I'm gonna hurt you or anything. It's just that it's unhealthy behavior. It's like eating
Next thing
too
you hear
much
is like
sugar.
a slap and me just yelling in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But like it bleeds through David's audio, implying that I'm in the
My
same room
cat
as him.
meowing in the distance. What do you want, monkey?
Who's monkey?
What? What?
Oh,
here.
thanks, Diego.
Come here, monkey man.
Monkey
Yo,
man.
Diego, do you ever get the chance to do that stream for the Avengers game? I've been pretty out of the loop lately, so
Hi.
I don't know if you did that yet.
You guys hear any of those squeaks from the cat? He was making noise like a storm. He was crazy.
Well,
I
also
don't know.
your audio is a little bit quieter than Scrubs's is, so that's on my fault. So I can adjust
How's
that.
it?
Oh, okay.
Like on Discord, you're a little bit quieter than he is.
Diego, how you liking the Avengers game? Did I make
Next
the right
Saturday.
decision
Hell
in not going for that beta? I'm just gonna wait.
I have the same question too, because I've been looking at clips on YouTube of the gameplay, and it looks pretty fun. But I don't know. I'm on the fence because people are saying the experience could be better.
I'm still on the fence.
What is the fence, anyways? Metaphysically.
It's just a metal thing that separates two chunks of areas.
What if you sit on the post and it like hurts your butt?
Well, that's a you problem.
I don't think that's good at all, because that might just go through like that, straight up.
That's all I'm saying. It's a you problem.
It
Not a me
feels
problem.
outdated. That's interesting. How so? How do you figure?
Isn't ready yet.
I'm sure you'll probably talk about this when you're doing the thing, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts
Let's
about
dab on the haters.
Because like I did hear people say that it feels like very early 2000s era of like video games.
Had some setbacks.
But again, I didn't have too much time to just look through and see
I'll
what people
give you a
said.
setback. I'm gonna bring your whole goddamn agency up on charges.
You know what? I'm
This is
really
gross
excited to see how Spider-Man looks in that game.
Why don't you show your guests the nuke
Because by the sound of it, and everyone's been sort of speculating that, apparently it sounds like they're taking like a lot of inspiration from the Ditko Lee era of Spider-Man costumes, where it's like it's cloth. There's nothing
Okay.
too fancy happening.
Oh man, it's been a while since we've seen a. Have we ever seen a spider, like a traditional Spider-Man costume that's made of cloth and not like rubber and like foam and like latex
Iron Man
and
magic.
like magic and fucking CGI gloss? Like I think it's been like since the 70s we've seen a costume from Spider-Man that looked genuinely like it was made by a person and not a studio.
Even the classic suit in Spider-Man PS4 doesn't look like it's made by a
Yeah,
50-year-old
even
program.
the classic suit in Spider-Man PS4 looks like a Iron Man suit because he turns the mask inside out. It's got got lenses and like, you see the mask is inside out at the beginning, and it's got like the computer lenses and all kinds of circuits inside of it.
That's the thing. Why the fuck does the classic suit have that? Wouldn't it have been more impactful if the advanced suit got that upgrade and the classic suit was just like the normal lenses?
No,
like,
shut up.
I don't know. I don't.
No, movie synergy. It has to look like the Tom Holland one where the eye is squinty.
Ooh, woo, small bean Tom Holland stan.
Ooh, woo, small bean, beautiful boy Tom Holland. I hope he's having a good day right now. Good morning to everyone, except people who aren't Tom Holland.
Wait, I thought we were.
David, are you getting the? You should do the optional side quests here, because you can kill all these guys in like a stealthy, funny way. Yeah, do that. It's fucking sick. You blew that guy up with a barbecue instead of actually shooting him. You can like get a crate to drop on a guy, and if you trick one of the scientists into following you, he'll walk into a minefield. Oh, actually, David, you know what? If you don't recognize this from the first time we played the original game, that's because this is that cut level that got reinserted.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Wait, this was the cut level that got reinserted?
Yeah, the one he's playing right now. This was cut from the original PS2 version of the game, but they added this level back where you're doing like this Hitman style like stealth kills on guys.
It doesn't look cut at all. I respect their effort to repolish it and put it back in. That takes
yeah. Because I guess they just had the old audio files for it laying around, and honestly, after playing it and like seeing the cutscenes that precede it and like follow it. Sorry. It it actually adds a lot of context to a later scene that seemed kind of random before. Yeah, you killed that guy with a box. That was great.
You did that like 5 seconds ago.
But yeah, there's like two characters who like talk about the events of this mission, kind of, but like in like a sort of vague way in like the next mission after this, and like. It didn't make a whole lot of sense now that I think about it without this one like telling us what that was. So it's cool that they threw it back in.
Right.
And it's just also it's nice to it kind of helps the pacing to have like another hold on, don't walk forward, don't walk forward, don't walk forward.
You walked forward.
There's a mine. It's a minefield. Tell that guy to follow you, because then he'll walk into the mine.
Oh, Diego replied to my question about the game. Alright, but how does, like, the campaign feel, though? Because I'm more concerned about that than multiplayer, to be honest.
Trick that guy into walking into the mines. Yeah, there you go.
Of the multiplayer games. I mean, I like him, but, like, I don't like him to be in my superhero games. I like those to be single-player experiences. Unless the game was built around multiplayer exclusively, in which case...
But you don't get it. We need to have a live service game.
Draw in the enemy.
A what?
Live service.
Destroy them.
Live service.
Live service. Fucking quality, man.
Service. You know, the thing that pisses me off the most is I'm like, all right, let me ask, how much of the game's functionality is based entirely around it being online? Because that I guarantee that's not gonna function in like 5 years.
Absolutely.
Can I play that game with no internet connection at all and still get all of the content pretty much? Because if that's not the case, everyone who's buying this game is fucked. Because you know what? Superhero like game licenses, those run out so fast, and like those games keep getting like taken down off of marketplaces. It's what happened to like there's like two different Ninja Turtle. Every Activision game, like there's all kinds of Spider-Man games that you cannot buy digitally anymore because the Spider-Man rights expired. So like the Beanox games, you can't download those, or like that's why Shattered Dimensions is becoming like really rare, is because they just stopped producing copies of it. Or like
so
the Deadpool game.
Copy,
when High Moon Studios folded, both the Deadpool game and the Cybertron Transformers games, like those got taken off of any digital platform, and like all of the online functionality and for either of those is shut down. So like the multiplayer and like challenge modes and like I would say a major chunk of those Cybertron games can't play that anymore. Like there's characters you can't play as because they're only available in like a horde mode, and you need the online servers to work to play in that horde mode. So you can't do that. Or there's 2 Ninja Turtles games I can think of where the rights were just expired because they got sold to a different developer or something, and now those games can't be bought or played ever again unless you like fucking like torrent them. And believe me, me and my buddy Jacob have tried to figure out how to get that working, and the only thing that's like really available is the demos for those. Like the full game isn't anywhere.
You know what? I may know someone who could. I was gonna say who could probably get you to get it working, but you have to jailbreak your console for it to work. So I don't know if you'd be a fan of that. But
well, I mean, I just don't have the games.
Well, I mean, by jailbreaking the console, you can just download it digitally.
Well, the thing though is that like, I don't want to do that because if the console gets bricked or I get in trouble,
you wouldn't be a big fan of that.
Because I need those, So the thing that like I'm concerned about with that is because like, okay, GameStop was still selling like online codes for TMNT Out of the Shadows. It's a game from like 2014. It's like a hack and slash kind of multiplayer thing. And it was only $15 and it was released on Xbox Live Arcade back when that was still a thing, and I hope it burns in hell and I'm glad it's gone. Because this thing keeps happening. Xbox Live Arcade was a piece of shit. What happened was I bought the $15 code from the GameStop website to download it, and I put it in, and then Xbox just said you've put in a code for $15, and it just gave me back $15 because now that the game's no longer available, GameStop's website was still weirdly enough selling the codes. They just changed it to a currency that's equivalent to the price of the game. So I actually even called the helpline and was like, why can't I download this game? And they're like, well, it's a currency now. I'm like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is not a currency in any country I've ever been to. So, is there any way I can exchange it for the game? And they're like,
listen,
no.
It's the currency in Russia, because the money in Russia isn't worth shit. They just trade
currency of the future.
Exactly.
They just give each other copies of TMNT Out of the Shadows.
Exactly.
Right. Every copy of TMNT Out of the Shadows is worth $15. And this is how, like, we're going back to the days when we used to trade shit. Like that's how it is, whether you like it or not. That's the way we're going.
Yeah.
You want a bag of potatoes? That'll be one TMNT Out of the Shadows copy, please.
Bro, I only have half a TMNT Out of the Shadows on me right now. Can you give me a discount? You can get the fuck out of this establishment, sir. But yeah, like just any comic book licensed game is at super high risk of, like, any online functionality it has is going to be dead before you know it, because nothing shifts hands more quickly than, like, the game rights of superhero stuff. That for whatever reason, those are constantly being traded around, and the original owner will from this developer and then give it to another one, or this developer will be like, we're just going to make Call of Duty games forever now, so just give it to whoever. Like, so I don't have any faith in it, like, having online features be super crucial, because I just know that they're running on borrowed time. Because, like, I really don't think Square Enix or whatever is going to, like, shill out the money to keep this probably really expensive to renew license for forever. So, yeah, like, I don't even imagine this shit's gonna last 5 years. I think all of the online functionality will be dead, and at a certain point, it'll even get so bad that they may even make all the DLC, like, impossible to download again.
And don't tell Armquist we don't need any more help.
It suddenly feels that way. I was gonna say a thing that I really hate about this whole contract thing, and I think that a thing that I think would make this whole thing better is if in the contract, instead of having like when it expires, all the games have to be taken down, just have the games be on the marketplace, and if they're worried about income, just have that be transferred to Marvel or whoever the fuck. Like, I mean, I would imagine that's the reason why they would take the games down, so that the original publisher doesn't profit off of them anymore, right?
I think what needs to happen is there needs to be some kind of like gaming union law thing that like if you work on a game, it needs to be like available and fully functional for the foreseeable future or something. Like developers need to start putting their foot down and saying like, hey, we don't want this to work on this game, you know, for 3 years of our lives and then 2 years later have it be unplayable. Like forever, because like that just happens a lot. Like there's a Punisher game that you can't play anymore. It was like a first-person shooter one that was downloadable only. That game's gone. I think someone said in the chat the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game is like inaccessible now.
Hold on a second, that was a game?
Yeah, they made a game based on the comic and the movie. Kind of. It's like it's in a 16-bit art style, and it's like a beat 'em up.
You know, I think the biggest I think it's pretty funny how like, with movies, you know, they have these vaults to keep the original prints of all these movies, you know, preserve all these classics. And with games, it's like, you know, it's probably gonna be gone in 5 years, you know, because then the studio doesn't care. It's like they're much more serious about preservation in movies. You know? Well,
because, like, that reminds me of, like,
you can watch, movies from, 100 years ago, but you can't watch... in 100 years, do you think you'll be able to play the games that we're playing right now?
Probably not. And that's really horrible. Like, okay, here's an example of how bad game preservation is that Silent Hill 2 is probably one of the greatest video games of all time, but because the developers didn't really think that it would, like... get to that level or anything, and they weren't really, you know, obligated to, they didn't save any of the original files for it. As soon as the copies of the disc shipped, and it was good enough to run on that, they were like, alright, just fucking delete everything. So, when they tried to do an HD remaster of the Silent Hill 2 game, like 10 years ago, they had to just break the files out of an old PS2 disc, and, like, it's missing crucial stuff, and, like, it just can't run on, like, other systems. So that remaster is super ultra heavily broken. Like, the draw distance is bugged to shit so that, like, you can see way further than you're supposed to. So, like, you can... Because, like, this game... those games are filled with fog, right? Because it's, like, a horror game. And that's how they hide the draw distance in the open world, because there's, like open world exploration segments. But also they hide enemies in the fog. The fog is broken in the remaster, so you can see all the way down to the end of the street where the level hasn't loaded yet, and every single enemy just standing there, like, thinking you can't see them along the way. So, like, you can just walk around all of them. Or, like, the game was, you know, built for an aspect ratio that was, like, you know, like a TV screen,
4:3.
like, back in the day. Yeah, it was built for a 4:3 aspect ratio. It wasn't built to be in, like, widescreen or full screen, so you can see a ton of, like, shit that you're not supposed to see near the edges of the screen, where, like, you know, the camera is clipping through a wall, or you can see, like, a character, like, spawn in before they walk through a door, or, like, you know, you can see, like, holes in the wall where, like, they just didn't model it any further, because, you know, they didn't expect the camera angle to show you what was beyond where the black bars would be, so that fucking port is just like a classic example of just save the files so that it's easier to do this stuff. But like, even now, that's not really a common practice. Like, they don't make a huge effort to keep that shit protected.
If there's ever an argument that games aren't art, it's that their studios don't treat them like it.
Exactly, yes. They treat them like a disposable product that has a shelf life. which is weird. Because, like, can you imagine, like, treating, like a novel like it has an expiration date when it'll just, like, stop being readable?
Like, a lot of shitty,
you know?
not, like, low-budget novels do that, you know? But it's,
really?
like, it's not good there, either. Well, it's more like they, like, don't bother to renew the copyrights and they just forget about it and that sort of thing. So, like, it'll just fade into
like,
obscurity.
Impossible to find that book again?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But that's, like, real, like, obscure, low-budget stuff. And the difference is that they do that with, like, mainstream stuff in
gaming. So, you know what? If there's any strong, like, legitimate-ass argument in favor of piracy, it's that it preserves this stuff. So that, like, you know, the guys who upload all the shit to, like, Pirate Bay, they're preserving it better than the developers are. They're keeping a copy of the game playable 10 years down the line. Or the people who try to emulate, like, a PS3 game that you can't play anymore on, like, PC. Like, they're trying to keep these games alive when, you know, copyright bullshit has killed them. So, like going back to Avengers, I just don't have any confidence in all of these online features that they're pushing and all of this, like, gameplay that's supposed to be online.
You know,
whatever that looks like.
You know, as Jim Sterling is wont to say, live service business model.
Exactly. Because, I mean, even fucking Destiny, that game that they said that they were going to be, like, supporting for 10 years, after, like, 4 years, they just made a sequel. And just stop caring about it.
Sounds about right.
That one was made by EA, wasn't it?
No, it was made by...
Actually, it was Activision and Bungie.
Don't Activision and EA have, like, this sort of pact happening? Or
no.
Am I thinking of something else?
They're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're both terrible.
They're both equally terrible, I would say.
I was gonna say, I would expect that from either... Oh, well, if it was EA, I'd say I'd expect...
I mean, they're the two biggest developers out there.
I would say the same thing about Activision.
But naturally, they have to be the two most evil.
Well, I mean, you know what they say, you know? EA is the worst Do you know why they say that EA is the worst company in America?
What?
Because Ubisoft is French.
Damn.
EA Games, challenged by everything.
Oh man, the hurt is still so real for Dead Space. I miss that franchise, but it was made by Visceral Games, but, like, published by EA, and
it was also,
EA decided to.
Also,
I think Visceral was put on making Battlefield games and then closed.
Yeah, Visceral was bought out by EA. So, you know, EA is notorious for closing down studios that they buy, like, 5 years later.
And it's like really sleazy, the idea of that because this is so known, I don't like the idea that anyone is going to actively get into a deal to sell their company to EA, because they know that they're just fucking over all those employees.
They did that with Shaba Games, because they were going to make a Web of Shadows sequel, and then, like, there was this agreement, or, like, this contract that Activision...
I thought it was Activision bought Shaba and put them on Call of Duty stuff.
Oh, wait, did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Or wait, no, actually, was that Treyarch?
That was Treyarch.
I know that Shaba isn't around, but Treyarch was put on doing Call of Duty shit.
Shaba was the one that got shut down because I think it had something to do with, like, I don't know, like, profits of Web of Shadows. Like, Activision wanted a bigger share in that than Shaba would get. So, like, there was this unfair thing happening, and then Shaba called them out for it. And Activision was like, all right, well, guess we're shutting you down then.
You remember when Bethesda said, fuck you, Obsidian, you're not getting a bonus for making Fallout New Vegas when they didn't get a high enough Metacritic score?
Jesus.
Yeah, you told me it was like by 2 points, right? Or like
it was
1 point.
Yeah, it was like by 2 points.
That's so fucking stupid.
Well, it's classic, studios dickery.
Classic Todd.
Oh, that's depressing. Like,
it is.
Man, I'm noticing a pattern here that, like, either EA or Activision will take a bunch of developers working on something they're really passionate about, tell them to drop it forever and just go make one of those 2 boring shooter games that come out annually.
But you know what?
Halo game
I think we've also forgotten. There's only one company. Hey, 1 second. There is one company that gives both Activision and EA a run for their money in being a shit company. Do you want to guess what that is?
What?
Like
Take
a gaming
Two
company?
Interactive.
What's that?
Take Two.
Take Two Interactive. I'm unfamiliar.
Well, they're the parent company of like 2K Games and like Rocksteady.
Like
No, not
Fortnite?
Rocksteady. Rockstar. You know,
Rockstar. Okay.
And do you know what they did recently that was pretty shitty? So they were working with they had a contract with an indie company to develop the what's the word the sequel to Kerbal Space Program, right? And
yeah,
the development was going fine. Everything was going good, and then suddenly they announced that during the coronavirus pandemic, they would be canceling the game. And what they did was that they learned this. The employees of this indie studio learned this because they got an email from the head of HR at Take-Two Interactive, their publisher, who said, "We are forming a new studio to keep developing that game." So then they dissolved the studio and poached all the employees and hired them on their own in-house studio to make the game instead. Because they had been in discussions with the owners of this indie company to buy the developer, but they weren't happy with the terms. So then they just fucking did all that.
Oh
wow!
It's like they crushed an indie studio, poached all the employees, and then rehired them just so that they could fuck over this indie developer because they weren't giving them a good enough financial terms.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
See, this is why I've been. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I've been taking into consideration just studying something else. Like after I finish my game design course, I don't know, maybe getting into photography, cooking or something like that. Because I'm looking down the line, and game development, it seems fun and I love it, but it's just one of those things that's if the company you're working for is really shady or it's owned by something another shady company, you're gonna get fucked over really, really fucking bad. Case in point, Telltale. So I want to have a backup for when something like that happens, because I'm not gonna I don't have the energy to put up with really shitty people wanting to do whatever it is for money and solely for money. So I'm already setting up contingencies for if something like that were to happen.
Not a bad idea,
You gotta take into consideration some of
these
things.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do. That's right.
That you know what? I honestly relate to that a lot because that's kind of how I've been feeling regarding wanting to get into the movie industry. Taking all these writing, directing courses, but I appreciate how honest my school is with how shitty and exploitative and creepy and weird everything's gonna get. My teachers in film school will be it's not what you know, it's who you know. Sometimes you can have a really subpar script, but if you're good friends with someone famous, you can just sell it anyway. And they're like, don't always expect everything to. Don't expect to be Steven Spielberg. You may end up just working on just kind of work for hire. I'm just gonna direct episodes of a long ass boring TV show like NCIS or something. Because that's just the best you can get, and you just got to kind of be happy with that. Or if you get producers giving you notes, you have to just kind of fold and give into that. You're making a movie to sell, not to be art. And I'm a little taken aback by how fucking honest, brutally honest they are about all the flaws in the industry and what horrible things to expect. but like, I feel like that's also kind of just sucking out my passion for it. Like, I'm glad I wasn't going into it with, like, you know, rose-colored glasses thinking everything's going to be great. And that all the stuff you hear online is just like a, you know, like a rumor or like an unfortunate accident. Like, that stuff's just like, you know, the bad behind-the-scenes stuff. That's just, that's the common. That's the normal for that. And it's like, do you want to get involved in that for long periods of time where you're just like not allowed to have any kind of creative control over anything, and like studios can just fuck you over? Like, I was okay. There even reminds me, I was watching this video from Corridor Crew, who are a bunch of VFX artist guys. You've watched them, William. They were talking about how they spent like a couple years like really passionately writing this like idea for a horror movie that they think is like something that has never been done before, like an idea that they really believe in and think is really impressive and out there and creative. And they pitched it to a studio who was like, okay, we like this, but can you rewrite it to be something way more generic? So they're like, we like it, but can you make it completely different? And that like was so disheartening for them, and like apparently was like the 5th time that had happened with a project, and the other times they just played ball and, you know, just made the project whatever it may be, and like just
like any specific
went along with the. It's like not a movie that, you know, it's a movie that they're working on now independently because they're like, we're just gonna fund it ourselves, fuck it, because whoever they took it to, like, it just reminded them of too many experiences they've had where they actually did just take the studio notes and it ended up just completely sucking the fun out of a project, or like making the final product just garbage that they weren't proud of. Yeah. So yeah, that just, they were like, we're just done with the industry. We're gonna just try and bankroll the stuff ourselves, like use whatever money we, like the YouTube channel and donations from fans and stuff, to hopefully just get it moving. Because if they take it anywhere else and get anyone else to fund it for them, it's not going to be their movie anymore.
I understand the frustration in that, because like this conversation reminds me of Chronicle, the 2012 movie. You guys know how much of a fan I am of that, and if you guys don't, yeah. I'm a big fan of that movie. That movie's fucking great, and I think it's so underrated. But
it's great.
Max Landis, the writer for the movie, he wanted to
write... this fella.
Wait, is he controversial?
Yes.
Like, has he done something wrong?
Yeah.
Or...
he was one of the bigger names in the Me Too thing.
Misconduct.
Oh, right.
Misconduct.
Anyway, the writer for that, who I like his work on Chronicles, and that's the only thing I know him from.
Man, you remember when he tweeted that his Star Wars was going to be Bright?
Oh, yeah. Bright is going to be the next Star Wars. And then it came out and was just like a confusing mess and no one liked it.
Okay, well, I haven't
seen it. And they've quietly shut down the sequel.
One of the things that really annoy me, and one of the things that really turned me off to, like, having to do any work for, like, a big company, is that he wanted to write Chronicle 2 and Chronicle 3. There were going to be these big sequels that sounded really fucking awesome, and he did this like...
I did actually hear him pitch the story for what Chronicle 2 would be. I watched that interview. Right? Yeah, where he was at like a convention, and he was
at a con, and then someone asked him questions about like, where are the crystals from? Like, what are they about? Tell us about them. And then he was like talking about them as if they were like a real thing, and they weren't.
Oh yeah, he was describing this thing so vividly and like with so much factual information. That he was so in depth with it, it sounded like he was actually just talking about a real thing that he based the movie on, but it was just an entirely fictional concept.
At the end of that, he was just like, yeah, all of what I said is just bullshit, but like, this is the thought process that went into it. And at some point he said he was gonna like have this whole thing be explained, but he realized that like, you know, it's not relevant, so he didn't do that. But anyway, he went on about this whole story about it because in the sequel he was gonna expand on that concept, right? Like, he was gonna have more people be mind controlled by these crystals. And the main character, the guy who survived at the end of the first one, he was going to have to go against them. And I think by the third one, or like a plot point in the second one, is that it was going to be, I forget his name, but the protagonist from the first one going up against like an entire town full of mind-controlled human zombies. And that was like the concept that he had for it, and it sounded so fucking cool.
Using like telekinesis to fight them, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, telekinesis and shit. And that's what he wanted to do, but the reason why that didn't go out is because Fox was like, let's just not do that, and let's do Fan 4-Stick instead.
Yeah.
And so they scrapped the entire project. The director for Chronicle 1 directed the Fan 4-Stick movie, I'm pretty sure, or was the writer for Chronicle
it was
wrote Fan 4-Stick?
It was the director and the writer are different people. It was Josh Trank was the director of Chronicle, and he did Fan 4-Stick. Max Landis was the writer. Max Landis actually turned in a draft for that Fantastic Four movie that was going to be a lot more like about adventure and science and family, and like had kind of more of like a psychedelic 70s feel, which was weird but kind of interesting. And they scrapped that and didn't go with it, which is, I don't know. It would have been better than what we, even if only slightly.
One of the guys that were working on Chronicle basically were forced to write Fan 4-Stick or work on Fan 4-Stick in spite of them wanting to make Chronicle 2, and they were sort of roped into that. And whoever it is, they were so bitter about it. So bitter.
It was Josh Trank, the director, yeah.
Kidding.
The director.
What has Josh Trank done since then? Because like he was like just so hard to work with for Fox. Like he was just like fighting them at every turn that apparently they like just didn't want to hire him again. And
well, he was like, also very badly behaved on yeah, like he just
There's a rumor about him bringing his dogs to the set, which tore up a bunch of furniture in a house that was rented, and like the owners were like, yeah, for Fan 4-Stick, and so like I think it was like Reed Richards' house in the opening of the movie or something. Like the director brought his dogs along, and they chewed up a bunch of the furniture and like fucked up the place, and then he was like, "Well, I'm not going to pay for it. The studio will pay for it." And they're like, "You're going to make us pay, like, add to the movie budget repairs for the shit your dogs did."
It was like a couple
you just
$1,000.
decided to bring them away. What, it was $2,000?
It was a large amount of money.
God, what did they fucking do?
I think they scraped up the floors mainly, and like basically, which means they'd have to redo the floors.
Oh, jeez.
Sucks.
SUCC.
Yeah. And then he was like hiding from the producers whenever they would show up and ask what's going on. He would like just go out of his way to not see them.
I think Chronicle works as best as well done. I feel like you know what? I thought of that. I had that same concern as well when when rumors started circulating around a Chronicle 2. But the way Max Landis explains his sequel ideas, I had faith that they would work. You know,
also,
it sounded really fucking cool.
Also, the guy.
Also,
you know
it would have been cool if they'd
expand on the characters.
It also would have been cool if they'd gotten rid of the found footage gimmick.
You know what? I really like that about the movie. I thought that was really creative the way they did it. How like we see it from the perspective of the camera lenses.
Well, you see it from the perspective of whatever camera is nearby.
Or like whatever is capable of being a camera, phones, etc. Yeah. I thought that was really fucking cool and really like, you know.
Sometimes they were pushing it and it seemed a little gimmicky, but other times it was pretty interesting. Like I like some of the photography, like in the middle point of the movie where he's like using his powers to levitate the camera to get like shots that you couldn't get in a found footage movie. But then like
shots.
Near the ending, when they were just like, let's randomly levitate 50 cell phone cameras around us so we could get good coverage of this fight scene. That was a bit much.
Like, why would he like? What's the in-universe reasoning for that? You know,
I don't know. I don't. I'm sure you could bullshit some explanation, but I
love how
Diego was saying he loves
but it almost looks like a normal movie.
Yeah. Well,
so was Diego saying?
Like, you know, sometimes it would cut to like shitty security camera footage because like that's the only thing that was available to show that action in the story, and that's kind of cool. But Yeah, like that was fine. There was also like cell phone camera footage of them like flying through some guy's house, and like the guy is like screaming and talking to his wife, and like there's just like a backstory there where it just feels like, you know, this guy, this guy's just a whole other character almost, just because of the way he's talking. Like it kind of reminds you of some of that footage you see of like, you know, when like a natural disaster event happens, or like a big industrial accident or something, and someone's filming it, and then they just like they just start going, "Oh shit! Holy fuck, Sandra! Get the kids in the car! What the hell?" Like, it reminded me of that kind of thing.
I thought that was really cool. I love how seamless and like timeless the CGI is in a lot of the shots. Like, you had that one thing where the teddy bear one, right? Like where he's controlling the teddy bear. That is so seamless even to this day. Like, you watch that and you're like, it doesn't look aged. It looks modern.
Or like, I mean, you know, the scene where he pulls the legs off the spider.
Yeah, or even the scene where he pulls the guy's teeth out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really clever special effects in there that are done.
Scene where
like
he's moving the car with his mind. The scene where he turns the coffee into like the image of Mary.
Covfefe.
Fuck. Everything. What?
Covfefe.
You know, something you said earlier, Scrubs, was like, you said that the way that Max Landis talks about his ideas for the sequels is what really sold you on it, and I think that's really that goes down to why that man is was so successful in Hollywood for a little while, despite having, I would say, a more limited talent than he probably imagines he has. Because the guy sounds a little bit egotistic when he talks about himself.
A little bit.
But that man can do a fucking elevator pitch like the best of them. That man can sit down and just like explain in 5 minutes the idea for a movie so impressively that you're like, I want to throw a bajillion dollars at this movie and have it happen. Because like, I remember he was also like having his pitch for an idea of like this movie about like this dad who's estranged from his kid and like is trying to reconnect with them, so they like go visit like his old childhood home, and then the kid gets like kidnapped by something that he can't see, and he chases out into the forest, and like the way he was describing it was like it was this really intense like psychological thriller or something, right? Like it starts out really, you know, serious, and then near the end of it, the guy, as the dad gets further into the forest, he hears Winnie the Pooh say, "Christopher Robin, you're back!" And it's actually a Winnie the Pooh reboot where it's like kind of like Hook, where he's an adult trying to find his childhood again. And
he was giving a pitch for a Winnie the Pooh reboot?
But he made it sound like this really like intense like thriller movie that was like really like it was great. And then that movie ended up kind of getting made, but with Ewan McGregor, different-ish. Remember? It was just called Christopher Robin. I don't know if it was based on his idea, but it was close enough that I feel like there's a correlation.
I feel like there was a meme about that. The Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin's thing. Or like Winnie the Pooh
I don't know.
Christopher. I don't know. But that sounds really familiar. But I didn't expect it to go down that route. Jesus.
Diego says there was also the pitch for Lord of the Rings, but in modern day. Are you referring to Bright?
Yeah,
or
that's
was
Bright.
that just another thing he was like legitimately Lord, but in? And then like that warped into Bright, or is that just like, are you being coy about the language? Because I honestly don't know.
I'm still trying to get over the Winnie the Pooh pitch. Jesus.
You know what, David? These fucking sections of destroy as much stuff as you can in like the time limit are so hard that I've only been able to one of them. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Like, I think you're just supposed to get the final like saucer gun in this game, which is the quantum deconstructor. But like, that thing takes so long to recharge and has so low of a capacity to kind of make up for the insane amount of damage that it does, that I don't know if it honestly will actually make a dent and help at all. Sochi Nep Spider-Man says, Xavier, do you think Spider-Man Web of Shadows will ever get a chance of getting a remake? I want that game to be preserved because I feel like it's such an important point in gaming history. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily an important point in gaming history. It was just, I don't know, it was like 3 other games that came out that year. But I do appreciate it too and think it's a great game, and I honestly don't see it getting any kind of remake because, you know, who knows who fucking owns the rights to that game at this point, because like Treyarch and Shaba are both just gone, and like none of the people who worked on it are even like remotely involved in that character anymore, I imagine.
What do Marvel have the rights to? It's like, doesn't it go back to...
No. They have the rights to the character, but the actual game itself is that's why you don't see like, that's why the Raimi costume was so hard to get in Insomniac's game. It's just because they own the rights to Spider-Man in game form, but they had to like contact like so many people to get the rights to that particular suit because it was part of the movie rights.
Didn't they say they were like working on getting the suit in the game, or like actually modeling it a couple of months prior to when it got released? But they
didn't say it. Well, yeah, they
it was on like one of their streams or something.
Well, they wanted to get it in the game. It was just waiting for the licenses to go through. That was the whole thing. Is that like if they could have had it at launch, they would have, but they couldn't because the contracts were taking so. And it was just this weird kind of like legal battle, just waiting for like whoever owned the rights to that, like that image of Spider-Man, like that design, whoever that may be. Because you know you got to think about like
James Atchison.
Yeah, like the costume designer or whoever did the concept art for it, or maybe like someone at Columbia Pictures, or maybe Sam Raimi himself. Like the rights to that costume maybe belongs to any one of those guys or all of them, and like it would just be. And you have to sit down and wait until you get permission from everyone. And like that's why it took so long. And like doing that for a whole game like Web of Shadows, I just don't see it happening. Like, you know, if it took that long to get just a little quick DLC costume, what's it going to be like for every single asset for that game? Because like every asset is like, it's not Spider-Man in that game. It's specifically Treyarch and Shaba's Web of Shadows version of Spider-Man, and you have to get the rights to that. And who knows, maybe even have to get the rights to every individual character in the game again, like all of their likenesses. So,
right, because it's their own designs. You know, it's kind of funny you say that, because I've been reading through some old comics, and a lot of the designs, like, there's this artist who drew the characters from Web of Shadows, like Spider-Man, Black Cat, maybe even Venom, I don't know. But the way he drew them, and that came out before Web of Shadows, by the way. Web of Shadows' art style, or like the way the characters look basically like just like that, like the way they look in those comics.
Okay, I just had to interrupt for a second, because I read in the chat that Diego says, no, it was actually a sequel to Lord of the Rings. It starts off with a deep-sea diver exploring, and long story short, they find the remains of Mordor and wake the Eye of Sauron. I just have to say that is the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
But I'm sure the way he pitched it made it sound fucking awesome.
I'm sorry. It's just that fundamentally misunderstands what was cool about Lord of the Rings, which is that it's J.R.R. Tolkien writing mythology. To set it in the present day completely defeats the point. And I don't know, it might be possible that like J.R.R. Tolkien might have been working on like a sequel that was something like that. I don't know, I kind of felt like that was something that like one of my friends who's really into Lord of the Rings said. But like that's just really stupid. I'm sorry. I just had to go on a rant about that, because like that's like a big like fanboy thing that like bothers me a lot, is liking stories and like really being obsessively into stories, but not really like understanding
what's
them.
Good about them.
Yeah. Like like, there's a lot... I remember reading an article about this, like, about how, like, a lot of people, you know, like, Silicon Valley types, you know, like Mark Zuckerbergs and all these nerds who are, like, engineers inventing weird shit, and, like, a good point that this article made is that they're always obsessed with this stuff. Like, the magical objects and all that things, but they're never really interested... They never seem to be interested in the stories or the characters, and it's like, there's this sort of segment of nerdhood that I just can't stand because of that. And it sounds like Max Landis is one of those guys.
So back to before
yeah,
I
I kind of get that. Okay, yeah, you go.
Basically, long story short, I was going to ask, since the characters were based off of the way they looked in those comics before the game, who would the same copyright things have, like, go for the characters? You know, I messed up my train of thought.
All right, yes, like, okay. The in-game model is based kind of like on like Terry Dodson's Spider-Man art, but it's not explicitly just that, because like Terry Dodson's Spider-Man art is a 2D drawing. The likeness is for the 3D model, because that's even more specific. It has like, specific logos and shaders on it, and like the proportions and the poly count, and like the seam on the neck of the costume, and like the face rig, like all of that stuff is something that someone owns the rights to. And while yes, it's like visually inspired by like a comic artist's works, that model itself is now its own new thing. And that in itself may end up being like, well, like this rights stuff is so complicated that sometimes they don't get the rights to buildings in New York, so they can't put them in the open world map of Spider-Man games. So that's why, like,
what do you call it? That one building with the gargoyles. I forget its
name.
The one next to it.
You mean the Chrysler building?
Yeah, that one.
Apparently that one's actually... Apparently that one's actually kind of hard to get the rights to, so the Chrysler building... Because the Chrysler building is a distinct likeness, you know? You can't just say that's any random building. I would even go so far as to say that's the reason that the Empire State Building is called, like, the Trask Building in-game.
Maybe.
Remember?
Yeah.
Because, when the fuck did Trask... Or even, like... They don't have the World Trade Center in the game map. They have Stark Tower, which is not in the same spot it is in the comics. They put it there as a placeholder for something... There was the new one that was, like, built by that point, or was, like, at least mostly done, I imagine. 2008, David, what would you say? Do you think that the new World Trade Center was, like, done by that point?
By when?
Because it was done by, like...
By 2008?
No.
No.
I think early 2010s.
Yeah,
really?
So it was, like, probably under construction, because, like, that shit takes a while. But, like... Yeah, like... They couldn't get the rights to that, or I'm sure maybe they didn't even know what it was gonna... So they just put in some kind of placeholder, though. Yeah, Diego. Yeah, he confirmed, because he's a New Yorker, so he would know.
Hey, you're a New Yorker.
Yeah, it was he confirmed it was, like, early 2010s. But yeah, that's the thing, is, like, copyright is such a weird, horrible train wreck mess to deal with that, like, I feel like a lot of people don't understand how complicated it is. And they're just like, bring back Spectacular Spider-Man! And it's like, well, we can't. Because, like, Disney owns the rights to make Spider-Man cartoons now, but they don't own the rights to make more of the previous Spider-Man cartoons, because those cartoons are still owned by Sony. So Sony owns Spectacular Spider-Man, Disney does not, and they would have to get Sony to be okay with them making a new cartoon and sharing the rights. They would basically have to do the deal they did to get Tom Holland in the movie.
And
they have to do that again for a cartoon.
They only do that when there's a lot of money in it to justify it. And there's not that much money in a cartoon.
Because, as much as people would like Spectacular Spider-Man to come back, you're going to make just as much money off of Ultimate or Marvel Spider-Man or whatever, like those other, because those are just placeholders, they're going to sell the action figures, and you can get, like, the money from like the merchandise or whatever, or like you can get the money from the ratings. Like they don't need to replace Spectacular Spider, or they don't need to fix Spectacular Spider-Man and bring it back. They can replace it with something just as easily.
Even if they made less money on the new cartoon, they would still be more in the green because the new cartoon would cost so much just in licensing fees, to the old people.
Yeah, man, companies aren't your friends. They don't care about you. They care about the money to go.
It's funny. Almost somebody made a video about that,
It's almost like someone said something like that.
It's like someone got canceled for saying that once.
Yeah.
What a fucking weird take to get canceled for is corporations are not your friend and they're only nice on social media because it's in their best interest to do so because it'll help sell their product.
I just find anybody who makes like a parasocial relationship with a corporation, that's so fucking weird to me. The Disney hardcore Disney fans, like the people who go to parks every year. That shit weirds me out.
Yeah, no. I can understand going to like a convention, because conventions, it's fun. It's like it's not really owned by any person in particular.
Well, the conventions are fun because of the fans, not because of the.
Not because of the product that is there.
I wouldn't want
you don't go
to
there for just one thing.
I wouldn't want to go to San Diego Comic-Con for that very reason, because it's basically just it's just a sales pitch these days. It's like I'll go online and watch the trailers. 24 hours, 48 hours later.
They've made it like E3, but for movies.
Yeah, it's an industry trade show, it's like. But the Comic-Cons that I like are the ones like Denver Comic-Con, where it's just, fans coming together, and the fun comes from, just seeing fans and their creativity, and not from the corporations.
Not from the corporation getting up on a stage and shilling a product to you that's going to come out next year.
Yeah.
Because,
the other one feels like that.
Because, you feel like... Yeah, the people there, they're just trying to make their bread, and I get it. They gotta make their money, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with advertising a product, especially if, it's a project you're invested in, and, let's say you're an actor for a movie. It's cool to get up on stage and do your thing, right? But, you're also there kind of, on the leash of a big company, and that from a standpoint of people watching that, I could understand how it would feel a little bit gimmicky and insincere, but you get your mom and pop bullshit conventions that no one gives a shit about, Denver Comic-Con,
which commercial time is run by a non-profit, and it's not run by some soulless corporation wanting to make money.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Denver Comic-Con is a non-profit. It's called Pop Culture Con, which is why they renamed it from Denver Comic-Con to Pop Culture Con in the first place.
It's because, someone else owns the rights to Comic-Con as a name?
No, it's just, brand integration. And, what they do is that they're like a Denver-based nonprofit that their whole deal is to use comic books to spread literacy in, prisons and schools and stuff.
Fuck yeah, that's cool. I can get behind that movement. I learned how to read from comic books. I was never really great at, science or math. But when I was, 8 years old, they tested me and I was reading at a college grade level because I was just reading so many fucking comic books. And, I was just, weirdly... I was excelling super hard and only reading and...
You nerd.
I honestly believe I owe that to the amount of comic books I read, because they were just teaching me to appreciate stories and try to understand writing.
Was it Marvel Zombies your first comic?
It was one of them, yeah. Which is a fucked up comic for a 7-year-old to read. Yeah, because that one's really dark and really grim, and really upsettingly sad.
I don't know if I ever told this on stream, but one of the things that I used to do is a couple summers ago is that I started ironically collecting Rob Liefeld comics and shitty 90s comics. So I have '90s Rob Liefeld collection.
Hey, by the way, okay, this is one of the missions that makes it a game. You see that prototype there? Is you sabotage that in the cut level. So in the actual game, they just kind of introduce this flying saucer in this cutscene, and then it breaks in this cutscene in like the original game.
Without any
like,
context to why it breaks.
Yeah, you're like, when did that get introduced? What the fuck? When were they building that? So it's cool that the level that got added back makes that make more sense now. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Woohoo! New level, baby! Can I get a dab in the chat, my friends?
Oh no!
Let me just load up the old disintegrate array and I'll be off.
Where's my dab?
No! Listen, Crypto. At this very moment, they are preparing a nuclear device for testing in a nearby weapons range.
I'm sorry, can you talk a little bit louder?
Another one.
Don't sweat.
Another one.
This is a real funny bit to fill for time until we find something else to talk about.
I love dabs. I love dabbing. I love all my dabbing friends.
You're very smart. Be the best. Remember how that was a thing? Like, that was such a big thing that blew up in, like, 2015 or 2016.
What was the big thing?
You had that guy doing the freestyle rap. He was, like, talking about a, I don't know, like, Big Shock or something? Like, that was his name? Like, the thing goes... Pop, pop,
what?
Like, something like that. I don't know, it was something stupid that came out in, like, 2015 or 16 or 17 or sometime around there. Man, pop culture is really, like, it can be really fucking dumb at times. People just doing whatever.
At times?
Yeah, at times. I'd say it could be pretty cool at other times, but at very at some other times it could be pretty stupid.
Whoa! Space Daddy! Out of the way!
Completely butchered everything I was saying just then, but you get what I mean.
I'm like, I'm running out of energy.
No, I've run out.
I need more chicken wings to regain my powers. This mission is annoying and hard. I don't like this mission. This is probably like one of the only ones I really just... No, I think this is the only mission from the original game I just did not like, and like, because this remake is so faithful, I don't really like it here either. It has all the same problems. Is you have to escort this truck with a nuclear bomb on it, and it has like a limited health bar, but it's just really hard to get it there in one piece. It's an escort mission. I'm glad that escort missions have kind of receded.
Make sure it doesn't run out of health as you destroy everything else around it. Like, that was a thing in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It was a thing in the Iron Man 1 video game on the PS2. It was a popular trope. Kind of feels weird to see that in modern day games, or in a modern day remaster or remake of a game.
You want a piece of this cupcake?
Oh no, you don't see that often.
I feel like game design is strange with escort missions now, because when they feel like there's like a narrative reason to escort something, like keep it safe, they just make it invincible and the enemies can't really react to it or see it, just so like the player doesn't get frustrated with it. And that to me almost feels more lazy, because that means you're just like not even trying at all. Like in The Last of Us, like the original one, like Ellie is just completely invisible to enemies, and she can walk straight into their vision cone and not trigger anything. And like that can actually take a lot of the. It just sucks a lot of air out of the stealth mechanics when like you know that she was just in the path of like an enemy sightline, and they just completely didn't spot her. Or, like, she just killed, like, 2 enemies or something, like, while you're doing one thing, and, like, it's just, like, taking the challenge out of it, too. Or, like, oh, even worse than that, BioShock Infinite is, they don't even, like, the whole point of that game is how everyone wants to kidnap and take back Elizabeth, but they don't make any attempt to do that at all. Like, no character will, like, pick her up and try to drag her away. No character will even go near her. She'll just kind of stand around in like an action pose, like she's ready to fight, and then just do nothing until you're done killing all the enemies. Which means that screams to me that they thought of like trying to give her like a health bar or some kind of mechanic.
Maybe they tried it and it was just and the beta testers complained about it.
Well, because like both of those games have in common is they don't want the player to grow angry at the character, because that's who you'd blame, right? You know, you're not going to think of it as like, oh, this is poor game design. A lot of people are just going to be like mad at like, oh, I hate Elizabeth. She keeps getting killed. Her health bar is too short, right? And the whole point of that game is trying to make you like this character and like want to protect her. So when she's becoming a constant liability in gameplay, it'll like piss you off. And like, I get that, but Socially Inept Spider-Man says, Xavier, are you referring to the video game issue of ludonarrative dissonance?
Ludonarrative dissonance. Okay, it's basically like the disconnect between what the narrative is saying and what the gameplay is saying. So, if the narrative is saying the character doesn't kill innocent people, but the gameplay has you killing innocent people, there's a disconnect.
So, like Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, we were doing that thing in university last year, like we were talking about it, and we had to write this article about it, or like this essay about it, and I wrote it specifically about Batman Arkham Knight.
Good, because that one's like the worst example of that ever. It's like, I can't kill, I can't take a life, I will never do this. Over and over and over. And then you just, like, the main gameplay mechanic is running people over with a car.
What are you talking about?
You know what? I'm gonna say there is a game that has escort missions that did it okay, and did it in a way that worked.
What game is that?
Resident Evil 4. You have to carry around Ashley Graham with you the whole time, but like, and yes, she actually has a health bar and she can take damage, and she can even get picked up and taken away by enemies. But they put in enough mechanics to make it so that you could like make her not a problem to take care of as long as you just plan properly. So like, they'll put like, you know, like a box or a dumpster or something, at like the beginning of a fight, before, like, when you first walk in the room, and you can tell her, hey, hide in here, and enemies can't get her when she's in there. She can't take damage, they can't grab her, and then like, you can just go kill all the enemies, then go back and get her out. Or like, you know, let's say someone does grab her, right? The enemies are kind of slow, and they have to walk to the nearest door to move to the next screen of the game. And if you shoot them, they'll just drop her, and then she'll run away from them super quick, and they won't have another chance to grab her again after. And like, really the only way for her to take damage is if you're being like an idiot and you shoot her yourself because you're not paying attention to where you're aiming. And that's hard, because she's standing behind you out of your line of fire like 95% of the time.
It's interesting you say that, because I was going to bring up Half-Life 2 as an example, the episodes, because Alex Vance is a character that could get killed if you don't have her back at times, but it's so like hard to do that, and it only happens in very rare instances. So like, there's this great balance of, yes, this character is vulnerable and they can die, but at the same time, you don't have to constantly worry about them dying.
You have to babysit them.
Exactly. God of War does that pretty well as well. Not in the character dying, Atreus, but him being captured, or like him, like you not looking after him a lot of the time. It can put you at a disadvantage, because you have this mechanic where if you press square, you can shoot like arrows at enemies, right? Like from his bow and arrow. There are times when enemies can grab him, and eventually he can break out of that. But in doing that, like while the enemies are grabbing him,
it'll take away a method of combat.
Right, and it's such a useful method of combat too, so like it gives you incentive to go and help him out. But at the same time, it does it in a way where it's like, you're not constantly having to look after him, and you're not constantly having to babysit him. So there's this really great like balance in that, and I really like it.
Yeah, and someone else even pointed out in the chat, and with RE4, with Ashley, if you point your gun at her, she ducks out of sight from where you're, like, she like ducks below where your shots would aim. So it's like, you have to really be trying to shoot her to ever hit her. Like, you have to look, like, aim down at her while she's crouched and just point blank blast her in the face. So, like, I think that doing an escort mission style thing, because Resident Evil 4, I feel like, is an inspiration for both Bioshock Infinite and The Last of Us, in that you play as tough combat man escorting weak little girl, and, like, it does it better than both of those games, despite being, like, a whole generation before them.
Yeah.
Because they actually tried, you know? And unfortunately, the problem with that is that some players did end up hating Ashley and thinking she was a liability or she was annoying or whatever. I chalk it up half to just her voice was annoying and she was kind of squealy whenever something happened. But I think if you honestly thought that Ashley was, like, hard to take care of, you just suck at the game. Like, you're, like, playing it wrong. Like, so wrong that you're making it hard. Like, it's not, I'm actually gonna go ahead and say it's one of those get good things. It's really hard to fuck that up.
Yeah.
You have to, like, actively be doing things wrong to make it a problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. Speaking of get good missions, how do you feel about the chasing train sequence from San Andreas? I know this is like a completely derailing
I haven't played.
Of what we're talking about, but
derailing.
You got it.
I haven't played San Andreas. I just, like, watched my dad play it when I was a little kid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have watched a lot of that, and even then, there was still a couple scenes where he made me leave the room.
Man, I used to play that game as a kid, like audio on and everything. I didn't give a fuck. My parents didn't.
You know what?
Mainly because they didn't know what was happening.
If anything, the most memorable single line of dialogue from that game for me, for whatever reason, like, my family quotes this all the time, my mom and my dad. No problem, man, they're only toys! Do you remember that? Aren't you supposed to, like, catch, like, a bunch of, like model airplanes or something? And, like, that's what he says at the beginning of the mission?
You know what? People really don't like that mission, and I can understand why. But
that line, like, my uncle and my dad and my mom have been saying that line over and over for like 16 years. It was just for some reason it made them. I don't know, like, just whenever they can work it in, they like, problem, man. They're only toys.
Oh, that's so good.
Just like this video game. This video game is only toys.
No problem, man. They're just toys.
Oh, Nintendo developer. Look how much easier it is to fucking fly over that long. Like, you have a time limit to get to your saucer, and with this cool new skate mechanic, you can get over there way fast. That's so cool.
That's something new they added in the game.
Yeah,
no
that was
problem,
not the original.
Man.
Dude, you have to play the original version of it so you can just see how, like, slow the jetpack was. It's a good game. It's awesome, but, like, the changes that were made to this one are really appreciated and necessary, actually, to make it, like, feel like a more modern game. Because that jetpack was slow as shit, and, like, really, it was just really hard to get. Oh, look, this is the main villain of the game. Silhouette.
Like me. I'm a silhouette, baby.
It's got a cool design.
Yeah.
It's simplistic, but it's got personality. That's good.
Maybe you don't get the mindset we're up against.
You know what I appreciate is they even also made, like, a special model for Armquist over here, because, like, in the original game, I think he was just a generic general with glasses on, like sunglasses.
You see, it's funny that the main characters call the alien a communist, because I'm playing as the alien and I'm a communist.
Well, they're not talking about Cryptosporidium. They're talking about David.
Yeah, exactly.
That little commie bastard's in here to ruin our way of life.
It's not my spaceship. It is our spaceship.
It is our spaceship, comrade.
Yes, comrade. It is our spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
It is not your planet. It is our planet. I don't know why I went.
It is not your town. It is our town.
Yes.
Yes. It is not your lasagna. It is the comrade's lasagna.
I can't, like, do the Russian accent, hear it, or, like, even think about it without thinking about that fucking TMNT incident.
Yummy, 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 yummy pizza.
Shut the
Pizza time!
That, by the way, that's the description of the new video.
I sent you that picture of it, and I'm like,
I know. I was telling David.
also, depressed sigh, and I send you the screenshot of that with like that circle. Why did you have to do that? Why? What did I do to deserve this?
You should make Pizza Time your new bomb squad.
Please don't. No tacos. That is not a reference
time.
to
It's,
pizza time.
it's not pizza time.
Depressed
It's
sigh. Yummy, 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 yummy pizza.
It's a reference to Pizza Time, the video starring the Ninja Turtles. It's on YouTube if you want to fucking ruin your day.
Precisely. Hasta la vista, Crypto.
It's a very good video. You know, everybody should watch it. You should watch it with your friends, your family, your younger siblings, your
Everyone,
parents, your
ignore
grandparents.
Ignore what Xavier said about where that reference is from, or like what that thing is from. Don't just fuck. I'm probably making it worse. Probably gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell them not to, but they're probably gonna do it anyway. This is even making it worse. I should shut the fuck up.
Oh, Diego asked, what do you think about the recently announced Suicide Squad game? Big fucking meh.
I think it's funny that the game that WB Montreal canceled for the gameplay not being fun and not working out is the game that Rocksteady decided to pick up and spend years working on.
So, this is a game that was being worked on ages ago, then they dropped it, and then Rocksteady was like, David, you're not supposed to destroy that thing, you're supposed to protect it.
They didn't drop it for any reason though, they dropped it because the gameplay just wasn't working out. They tried everything and it just wasn't fun. And now Rocksteady's like, yeah, we'll give that a try.
Well, okay. Between the two of them, I feel like more confident in Rocksteady's ability to like come up with new and fun gameplay mechanics, while as WB Montreal is just like glue grenades.
I love the sperm grenades. You know,
the sperm grenade
really likes glue grenades.
You can throw them, and then just the white goo gets stuck on everything, and it's not ice. Okay, even though it makes the noise of ice, it's not ice. Okay.
Talia had to learn that the hard way.
Damian Wayne is the glue grenade that went too far.
Yep.
Batman gets kicked in the groin and goes, "Ow, my glue grenades!"
But yeah, look, okay.
They actually crack and explode in his utility belt.
I think Alfred has to clean it up for him.
Oh, jeez.
Alfred has to help him get the glue out of his hair.
Alfred.
Master Wayne, have you taken up extracurricular activities beyond dressing as a vigilante? Oh,
yes.
No. Shut up.
Alfred, I got glue grenade stains all over my batsuit. I need you to clean this up for me ASAP.
Alfred, I got glue in my bat trunks. I need you to wash them. That's why he stopped wearing them. He just kept getting too much glue grenade on his bat trunks. So he's like, fuck it. I'm gonna stop wearing them.
That's why he dropped him come Arkham Knight. It's just like...
You know what?
Alfred's like, you know what?
Because the stain shows up on... The stain doesn't show up on the gray as well as it does on the black.
Oh, man.
You know,
what were we talking about before we got into that?
Diego says, I just can't get behind a Suicide Squad game. There are so many other interesting comic characters to make a game on. Okay, I have a theory about why DC and Warner Brothers are pushing Suicide Squad so hard, even though it's like kind of not working so far.
It's going to be a tie-in for the James Gunn movie. That's my
Well, yes, but why even make the James Gunn movie? Well, who wants another Suicide Squad movie?
It made $700 million worldwide. There's your answer.
Like,
all my friends are heathens, take it slow.
I think what it is that I think Warner Brothers is more confident in Suicide Squad becoming the next big thing than they are with Justice League, because it's just ever so slightly different enough to avoid direct comparisons with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because a team of super villain criminals going on missions for like a corrupt government, that's different from a team of just, good guy superheroes who are just going to fight aliens.
You also have to remember that James Gunn is going to be presenting some footage for the Suicide Squad, his Suicide Squad movie, at the same event that we're going to learn more about the Suicide Squad game. So,
exactly,
it's going to be a lot of brand synergy there.
But overall, I think the reason Suicide Squad is getting such a big push at all is because they just have more confidence in it growing as a brand than they do with Justice League. Because Justice League, they just fucking let that flop.
Also, Warner Brothers has a lot of confidence in Margot Robbie. Basically,
they think that she's going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, the next she's like the big breakout star from that sort of movie. So that's why she got her own. So that's why she got her movie.
They're probably thinking Harley Quinn can be our Deadpool.
Yeah.
You know what I think is absolutely hilarious? The fact that both the Suicide Squad game and the Suicide Squad movie that came out in 2017 have Superman as their reasoning for the Suicide Squad banding up.
And it makes zero sense in that movie. I don't know how the game.
Superman came back from the dead and ripped off the roof of the White House and took the president hostage.
Superman turned evil. Well, let's get Slipknot over here on the team. He's the man who can climb anything. He'll kick Superman's fucking ass, bro. He can climb buildings and rocks and trees, probably. Harley Quinn, yeah, she's a mentally ill person with pale skin and a baseball bat. She's gonna get Superman she's gonna get his goat. He's gonna be so flustered when she shows up, she's gonna kick his ass.
Let's get El Diablo. He can board him alive.
The man who's fireproof. Okay, alright. The only remotely justifiable guy is Deadshot, because he's got, his aim is, legendary to the point of being, a supernatural power. And if you give him, a kryptonite bullet, even though I don't think the government knows about kryptonite, but maybe, right? Maybe they do. I could understand Deadshot, because if anyone could pull off a shot on a guy who can move, at the speed of sound, it's probably him who could do that. But, what's Killer Croc gonna do? What's Captain Boomerang gonna do?
I was gonna say, my favorite character was Captain Boomerang. Just whirls a fucking boomerang at his head.
I want to just fucking throw his boomerang at you, bitch!
You know what his superpower is?
He's gonna throw the boomerang at him, and it's gonna break over his face, and then Superman's gonna turn around, and his eyes are gonna glow red, and then you're gonna blink, and Captain Boomerang will be gone, but his ankles will still be there. Just smoldering. Crocky, mate, I'm getting incinerated! Diego says kryptonite boomerang, bro.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Sure, let's bullshit that. Why is Slipknot on the team? How is Climby Man? He can climb anything. What's he gonna fucking climb that'll kill Superman?
I don't think he can understand. He can climb anything. He can even climb the wind. He can climb the air.
Are we gonna pull some kind of honeypot maneuver, and he's just gonna climb the Man of Steel? That'll distract him. That'll get him. You won't see this one coming.
It's a formidable team.
It's just a bunch of people that will just have. It's just a bunch of people that are gonna attempt to have sex with Superman, and then just stab him in the back when he's not.
I mean, it's Henry Cavill, so it's understandable.
Dude, Henry Cavill is so hot. I wish he was the main character of that terrible Hellraiser movie, but instead he just got killed off halfway through. I want Henry Cavill to be in more stuff. He's gonna climb himself to victory.
You know, I saw
He's gonna climb the corporate ladder at Walmart and become a manager.
I saw this.
I
saw this great tweet about Henry Cavill, which was that Henry Cavill is like the perfect example of someone who, like, when you clean him up and like he wears a suit, he's just like he looks like a complete dweeb. But then when you like grease him up and make him dirty, then everybody instantly finds him really attractive.
You're right.
It's like
when he's like
the opposite of like somebody who cleans up good. He dirties up.
Yeah,
good.
like when you see him at like like a press event where he's like his hair is all like a nice suit on that's like perfectly tailored. Yeah, whatever. He kind of looks like a nerd, whatever. But then you see him in the scene where he like washes up on the shore in Man of Steel, and all he's got on is just the ripped up trunks, and it's just like,
or like his bit
just take me, Superman,
or like the bit from The Witcher.
Oh, or yeah, because that was perfect casting. Because all I know about The Witcher is Geralt of Rivera. You see his butthole a bajillion times, and they're like, we have to find a man with an immaculate ass to play this character.
So like so that even the straight guys will be attracted to him.
Hell yeah. Henry Cavill is a man's man, a Superman, if you will, says Tacos 299.
I mean, that's pretty fair,
All right, well, about our Suicide Squad bullshit talk, he says, to be fair, Katana's sword is magic, so it would work regardless. That is true. I don't know if the government or even Superman, as of those films, knows that Superman's weakness is magic, so I'm not going to say that was clever planning on their part. But if she did slash him with that sword, it would hurt him.
Her name's Katana. I wouldn't advise pissing her off.
Got my back.
Her soul traps the souls of its victims.
You up with one stroke of a sword.
They say her soul has the soul of her dead husband.
Remember? I was just thinking about that. It was just like, that's the perfect example, like, bar none, of just unrepentantly bad writing,
Just we'll throw this in. We'll explain this super complicated concept in 2 sentences and tell you to just be cool with it.
And then she just
didn't see it in action.
And then she
doesn't do anything in the movie.
Yeah.
She just stands there.
This is Katana. She's got my back. God damn it! I am Joel Kinnaman, and she's got my back.
He hasn't cut up a single person in the movie with the fucking sword. We don't see
any
of that.
One of those fucking those magic Goomba thingies that I don't remember what they are.
Let's call them the Goombas.
What else are they? They're just like fucking disposable enemies, just like CGI monsters. They might as well be Chitauri.
Does that mean the Enchantress is Wario? Not Wario.
No,
what's the guy's name? Bowser.
Oh, yeah. He's the Bowser. Also, apparently Steppenwolf was supposed to be the bad guy in that movie, and they just changed that halfway through.
Yeah, they did. I read that too.
Like, it was supposed to be big setup for Justice League, where Steppenwolf was the guy doing all the stuff in the city, and they sent the Suicide Squad after him. And then, he was going to make, a deal with Joker or something. He's going to make a deal with Joker, and they were going to, team up, and Joker would be, a magic alien Joker or something. And then they, were like, hold on, we don't want to use Darkseid for Justice League now, so we'll make Steppenwolf be the Justice League bad guy. We'll make him our Loki now. First movie bad guy. And then just kind of cut him out of what they were doing with Suicide Squad, then made the bad guy Enchantress, at the last second, and that's why it feels so weird and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You know what? Now that you've told me all of this, I support the fact that Enchantress was the main villain of that movie. Because if a fucking crocodile, a guy who has a fetishes for boomerangs, an insane...
The guy who ripped off the unicorn.
Listen, you're right, Cyborg Diego. We need somebody to release the Ayer cut. # release the Ayer cut.
Honestly, after what's going to happen... Dude, with what's gonna happen with the Snyder Cut, I guarantee that's next. Like, I'm not saying Warner Brothers is gonna put it out next. That's still up in the air. I'm gonna say that's the next big online movement. Is, you know what? Zack Snyder is gonna say, yeah, I would like to see a better cut of Suicide Squad as well, because David Ayer's a cool guy and I helped out that one.
I predicted,
and then. And even though he's like a humble, calm dude or whatever, like his fucking fan base is gonna be like, Zack Snyder demands it, Warner Brothers. You have to put it before us.
I'm calling a prediction here. Listen, this is what's gonna happen. So there's going to be released a trailer for James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and it's gonna be edited like a trailer for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, right? So it's gonna be a comedy. And then a bunch of people online are going to
just like the trailer for Suicide Squad 1.
Yeah, but like everybody's going to get real pissy about it, and then they're going to be like, this isn't my Suicide Squad. I prefer Dark Suicide Squad. Bring back the Ayer cut of the original film so we can see that. So that's when it's going to start, is when the first trailer comes out. What do you think?
Snyder Cut cultists. I support creative freedom and creative freedom. Also, Snyder Cut people. Okay, not go with fuck. I messed up the joke. Damn it!
You bastard!
I messed it up like way back.
So anyway, regarding a Suicide Squad game, I feel like the selection of characters is going to be a bunch of boring fucking nobodies that we've already seen in Arkham games. Because, you know, remember those? Remember this thing that made money? So you're going to play as Deadshot. So it's just going to be a generic third-person cover-based shooter for some sections, or you're going to play as Harley Quinn because of fucking course. And that's going to be like identical gameplay-wise to that tiny little DLC for Arkham Knight. And, like, it's all going to feel really toned down and, like, just bleh, and you're not going to feel like a superhero or a super-powered person at all. And, like, the whole Superman thing is, in my opinion, it's going to be a big-ass fake-out where you're never actually going to fight him at any point in the game. That's going to happen in, like, a cutscene, and then he's going to just, like, kick everyone's asses, and then team up with you against a common foe. You're never actually going to get a boss fight where you, as, I don't know, fucking KG Beast, try to take down Superman. Because it's, you know, Superman is so hard to program as a character in any capacity. You can't make him like the player character. And if you can't do that because it's too hard, then you can't make him a boss either. Because what's he going to do? Just kill you in like half a second? Is he just going to laser eyes you in half?
Rocksteady has a tendency to do like that exact thing so many times. It's like
what?
Just seeing this really cool thing, like this cool character design, right? Or like this really intimidating guy, and you never like actually fight him one-on-one. It's either just quick time events or just like gimmicks that get you to dodge his attacks, and you deliver the finishing blow in like a cutscene. Like Arkham Asylum's Joker bus fight was like that. The final one. I was gonna say Clayface, but no, you actually get to fight him in that one.
You do get
Deathshot in Arkham City. That was very much like that. Deathstroke in Arkham Knight. That was very much like that.
Rocksteady does not know how to. Rocksteady, barring like 2 examples, does not know how to do boss fight.
Yeah, the Mr. Freeze one was really fucking cool.
The Mr. Freeze one is like legendary. It's like really awesome, and also it stands out more because of the fact that it's in a game where the rest of the boss fights are kind of blah. But like, you know, they figured out a good gameplay loop for like, you know, the Titan bosses in Arkham Asylum, and they're like, well, let's just make a lot of it just this again. So Arkham City, like the boss fight with Solomon Grundy is really not that different mechanically from like the boss fights with like the Titan goons, or like they just add the Titan goons back again. You fight like 4 of those in City.
Oh yeah. I don't know about the Grundy boss fight being different. Being the same as.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the same. It's just like similar enough that I like. You can blow up the floor with the explosive gel or whatever. But yeah, it's not really a whole lot to it. You just kind of just punch him.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be okay too. I don't mind the Solomon Grundy boss fight. I'm just saying it's not like anything like groundbreaking.
Well, look, I've got my gun back.
Yay! Johnny, get your gun.
He said, "Little green man."
He's blue.
You know, it's like the suit, you know?
Yeah, that suit's very blue.
No, it's like the Batman's. It's the Spider-Man 2099 suit. It's green. It's not blue.
I am not green. I love Crypto's voice in this. He sounds like Jack Nicholson for some reason.
I love his facial animations. It's so intimidating.
He looks so scary and mean.
Hello, Marvel vs.
lips,
DC
dude.
fan is back. Yeah.
Hello. How are you?
Hello there, DC fan.
Socially inept Spider-Man. Socially inept Spider-Man says both Zack Snyder and Michael Bay movies have super pro-military, pro-America, hyper-conservative ideology in them, but they also have super buff, sexy men in them. And that is true.
Where was the buff, sexy men in like the Michael Bay? Well, I guess kind of like Pain and Gain, but like I don't know. I'm not really attracted to Mark Wahlberg. I don't really have a thing for The Rock either. I'm sorry. And like Anthony Mackie, I don't know. I'm just always looking at his face. I'm never looking at any other part. It's just, I'm looking at, oh, that's the Falcon, you know?
Yeah.
What other buff, shirtless, handsome dude bro mans are in the Michael Bay movie?
Will Smith.
Oh yeah, you're forgetting Will Smith in the
Bad Boys movies. Yeah. David, you're supposed to do this mission stealth.
I don't care.
Okay. You're just like picking up people and throwing them into the ground and knocking people into the river and like smashing boxes and killing people. So you're supposed to be stealthy.
A lot of grunts around lately. Couldn't be commies in Uniontown. Or could they?
I like the lighting in this scene. Well, not the lighting, but like the environment.
Yeah, I like how, because this is supposed to take place in kind of like Pittsburgh, I think, this mission.
It's called Uniontown.
So Pittsburgh, right?
I mean, like any Rust Belt city, basically, you know?
Yeah.
The
and
turtles in the TMNT movies are pretty buff and sexy.
True.
He did not direct those, he just produced them. I actually watched the first one of those with Jacob and Ben the other night.
Do you either
and we were like, what, huh? What was that, David?
Have you watched the sequel?
Yes. Yeah, but I haven't watched the original one since it came out in theaters because so much. But we were just kind of watching it to like joke at it, and what we were realizing is that like, well, for one, Megan Fox is terrible in that movie. And I'm sure maybe she's like a good actress in like other stuff, but I feel like she just phoned it in so bad. She just, I don't know. She sounded like she was in a fan film.
Well, also,
and she was always making the same face. She was making that face that Mark Bagley always draws, where characters are concerned, where their lips are open but their teeth are kind of gritted and their eyes are wide.
Well,
also, she was making that face like the entire movie.
Well,
the Mark Bagley face.
Also, like, also also, I could totally imagine that she took that as a paycheck gig and really didn't want to do it.
Well, yeah, you know, because you're in a big budget brand movie for like a superhero thing.
Especially because she had such a bad public falling out with Michael Bay. Like, remember when she basically called him Hitler, and like, she's kind of having like a sort of a being reevaluated critically recently because of that, because she was kind of ahead of her time when it came to like the Me Too thing, because she was like very outspoken about how, you know, people have treated her badly, and like, and everybody laughed it off back then and was like, "Oh, ha ha,
but
funny."
now they're taking it seriously.
Yeah, yeah. And like because of that, we could totally see her just being like, we could totally see her just being like, just completely distaste for working with Michael Bay and all this stuff, but she's like, I'm not getting any other offers, so like, you know, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, she showed up in the sequel. I don't know, she showed up, but like, I get it. It's just that like it seemed like after what happened with Michael Bay and kind of speaking out and everything, that her career was kind of on the rocks. So that like it seemed like those two Ninja Turtles things, like, it seemed like a last ditch effort to kind of stay, you know, in the public eye and doing what you're doing.
I mean, if you're a worker, you know, if you're not, you know, if you're an actor, if you're not working, you're just, you know, downtime.
Yeah. So I get it, but I feel for Megan Fox. I feel bad about her situation because that sucks. Because she spoke out about a guy being an asshole, and you know, she was just kind of like completely disregarded, right? But I don't want there to be some kind of revisionist history that she's great in the Transformers and Turtles films, that she's like the best part of those movies, because she clearly did not have her heart in those.
Well, there's a really interesting point that like someone put about like Megan Fox's character in the first Transformers movie, is that she's written as a really interesting, empowered character, but as written, she's a really interesting character. But as photographed, as shown on screen,
Acted.
No. As framed by the camera, you think
She's
of her as stupid, and like because that's what the way the camera treats her.
Yeah, they try to make her seem like the ditzy airhead when she's actually like smarter and more capable than Sam Witwicky is.
Exactly.
And you know, of course, they're always like there's all these really like pornographic-esque shots of just like, all right, now just stretch your body out, show your like belly, and like really like puff out your chest so your boobs look bigger, and then we'll just slowly pan the camera up everything so that it like the Ninja Turtles were going to be aliens really early on, and fans complained so much that they changed it back to what it was supposed to be.
Good. That's fucking terrible. I saw the concept.
Making them aliens already, like, it just breaks the title, because how are they mutants then if they're from space? If they're just supposed to be like that, they're not mutants. They're a natural species. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff that got changed about that movie halfway through. Like, they whitewashed Shredder and made him some businessman guy named... So, okay, Shredder's name is Oroku Saki. So in the movie, they made him a guy named Aaron Sachs. Oroku Aaron. Saki Sachs. Like, it's fucking embarrassing. And that character is like this scumbag politician / businessman guy, like this real Norman Osborn type who has like an Iron Man suit that he puts on to be Shredder. And like late into filming, they're like, okay, people are going to be real mad about this, so let's add in an Asian guy whose face we're never going to show. He'll just be standing in shadow, and we'll add like a couple scenes of him talking to Aaron Sachs, and we'll have him be Oroku Saki, the Shredder. But it's really obvious now when you rewatch the movie with that information, because you never see a character get in or out of the Shredder suit of armor, like the big robot suit, because you could tell they only ever filmed shots of the white guy doing it. So, and there's even a shot like after an action scene where he's wearing like a Tony Stark-esque muscle shirt and looks kind of winded and like has helmet hair. But he wasn't there. It was Shredder was there, and I just told him there. I just stayed at the office. Then why do you look like you were just wearing a robot suit? Like, it's fucking hilarious. And like,
are there like deleted scenes of him being the Shredder?
Hold on, my headphones are bad. What was that?
Are there any deleted scenes of him being the Shredder?
I don't know. I haven't checked, but I'm sure they filmed enough of it that there might be at least one. But yeah, they just were like, let's add an extra guy at the last minute, and then like 2 scenes of like those 2 characters talking, and then they went back through and redubbed all of Shredder's dialogue to be like, you know, the Asian actor and his like kind of thick accent. But every time I'm watching those, I can't help but think, okay, this is just that guy from that scene from Dark Knight.
Wait, which guy?
Diego's asking, what do I think of those turtles' designs? I think if they didn't have the nose on their face, because the nose is really weird. If you changed, like, just smoothed it out or something, and just took off the nose and made them like 4 feet shorter, they'd be pretty good. Because I feel like the designs say a lot about the characters, you know, because like Donnie's got all kinds of like gadgets and tech all over him, and like Raph looks kind of like rough and tumble. He's covered in like bandages and like torn clothes, and Mikey's got like a surfer necklace made of like shells, and like he's got like skateboard stickers on his shell.
I just wanted to say this as a little bit of a tangent. I just wanted to ask why Xavier does not review Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
Which one was that? Is that the sequel, or is that...
Fuck you. Cause fuck you. That's all. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Which one is that, though?
It's the TV show from the 90s. The live-action one.
Oh!
And fuck you. I
want to... Listen, I would pay money to see that. Do I have to go on your Patreon and pay $50?
And I'm also going to discontinue that soon because I'm getting too fucking like over encumbered with requests now.
But do I have to go on your Patreon and make you do that to get you to review it?
Maybe I'll talk about it one day, but right now I just don't want to.
I want you to.
Okay, William, have you seen any of like the live action Ninja Turtles movies from the 90s?
Seen bits of them as a kid.
Okay, they had, for the most part, pretty impressive practical costumes, pretty impressive like engineering and puppeteering on the faces
Didn't they
for the turtles.
Jim Henson company to work on it?
Jim Henson, yeah. So like the guy who did the puppet for Yoda, and you know a lot of other stuff like the Dark Crystal. They got so that stuff looks good in the movie, and they even got some decent fight choreography in there because they actually got the stuntmen trying to figure out how to do the moves in the costumes, right? So everything's pretty decent. But then the TV show had like none of that budget, so all of the turtles' faces look terrible. They look like those dinosaurs puppets from that fucking sitcom from the 80s or whatever. Like their mouths just flap up and down, and their eyes are just completely expressionless and weird looking. And the fight choreography, because they don't want it to be too violent, is like just awful. Like it's just the worst. And the whoever's doing the fights clearly is over encumbered by the costumes, so they're just like almost tripping and falling in shots in the show. And then they were like, let's add a 5th turtle who's going to be the sexy female turtle with a pink bandana, and her name will be Venus de Milo. And I told you in another stream how that character kind of was the reason that Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman stopped being friends.
Yeah. Yeah, you had a clip of that in your new video. I saw that.
Yeah, with the fucking... she has Ninja Turtle tits, like her shell is shaped around her boobs.
Don't call me mutant. Oh, hot.
Oh, it's fucking horrible. You know what? I appreciate the the new female Ninja Turtle in the comics, because she, one, doesn't have like a weird over-sexed up design. Like, she just looks like the other turtles, but like, you know,
Is a girl
with a yellow bandana, and she just wears like pants.
Oh.
And like, her origin is basically the She-Hulk origin, where she got a blood transfusion from one of the turtles and then mutated.
Oh.
Yeah, and that character is kind of interesting because it's to my understanding that the character is kind of used by the author as an allegory for being trans, because this character starts off as a human and then becomes a Ninja Turtle.
Yes.
And actually finds that she's like more happy that way, and is like, I'm still getting used to this new body, but I feel, you know, more powerful and more confident, and like,
but
this is kind of cool.
I'm sorry, I don't want you talking about this thing that you were interested in. I want you to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
No, I don't want to talk about the Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. They had an episode where they crossed over with Power Rangers.
Exactly.
Remember the Power Rangers episode?
All right, calm down, man. Just take a
What's
deep
wrong with the Power Rangers?
In and out.
Power Rangers is like fine when you're like a little kid, but it's really not my thing, man. Like, I just cannot get into it. Like, I liked it when I was like, I don't know, 4 through 7, but then I turned 8 and then was like starting to realize the things I didn't like about it. Just like how weird and cheesy the dialogue was, and like how like hilariously overacted it was by like the American half of the cast.
Right.
And then just like how cheap looking the fight scenes started to
I know.
seem.
I just want you to review Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
YouTube is not consent, David.
I don't care. I want you to review it.
I'm not saying I'm not saying yes. I don't want to. Maybe someday if I think it'll like actually get views. But
Chat, what do you think?
No.
I don't know.
Thank you for not condemning me to this hell.
You know what you should review though? And I suggested that a while back. But you should review the TMNT games.
No, you should review Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
I would like to review the games, but there's a big problem with that, is that 2 of them are like, I can't play them ever, because like I said earlier, is the license expired for them, so they're just gone. Oh, Diego's leaving. Hey, we love you, fellow boy.
See you later, Diego.
Guy. Have a good day at work.
Evening, yeah.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Make sure to beat up lots of criminals if you're doing that, and drink lots of milk. Bye, Diego. Let's hang out soon, or like work on like a video again, or do like another episode of Auto Saving the Day. Hey, let's pitch our Suicide Squad game and then see how close the actual one is.
What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
What are we, some kind of Auto Saving the Day podcast?
That's about Suicide Squad. So yeah.
What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad.
I like how, like, in the chat, there's just, like, a lot, you know, people just kind of commenting on the goofy shit we're talking about, but then also just a couple, every once in a while, people having a conversation about, like, Ayn Rand and objectivism and communism.
Yeah.
I see you there, a socially inept Spider-Man fighting the good fight.
You commie bastards, it's those damn Reds.
Ooh-woo.
Look, use your lasers to kill these white collar Americans.
Ooh-woo. Kawaii communism, you know?
I wish I could play TMNT Out of the Shadows, the game, but thus far, me and Jacob have attempted to emulate it on PC, but it seems like we've downloaded it and looked at the file from multiple places.
We're getting pretty close to the ending. We're going to Capital City now.
Hell yeah. But yeah, Jacob and I emulated that game, and what happened was he was like playing through it on his PC, just trying to like get it working, and it was like really glitchy and buggy. Like the shadows were all shaped like squares, and it kept having to compile shaders every 3 seconds.
What game is this?
TMNT, Out of the Shadows.
All right.
And then eventually he got past like the first level or something, and then it was like, all right, buy the full game. And then he clicked on that, and it was supposed to like take him to like the Xbox Live store, but we're emulating it on PC, so that doesn't fucking go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. So I think all that's available to play for that game at this point is just the demo that someone ripped and put on Pirate Bay or like a couple of different sites. There's no actual full game to download anywhere. Although maybe you know what? We were just trying to emulate the PS3 or the Xbox version. I think there was a PC version of that game, so maybe someone was able to download the files from there or something, or like upload that game somewhere. Because it was on Steam. There's a Steam page for that game. It just doesn't allow you to like rate the game or download it.
Well,
so
maybe it's possible.
I'm gonna pose that to you as a challenge, Scrubs. Try and find me a playable copy of that game.
Not now.
Not right now.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you call yourself Scrubs?
Because I scrub out the filth of the earth. I send them to their eternal slumber.
Okay, but why?
Man, Carter?
Man, I just do it, okay? Don't question.
Why? What are you scrubbing?
Scrubbing you out of existence.
Well, geez, that sounds pretty gay.
That's pretty gay, dude.
Fellas, is it gay to kill someone?
Yeah.
Yeah, duh.
Duh.
You gotta put your hands
I
on
can't
them,
believe you
dude.
even have to ask that. Jeez.
You gotta like touch them, and anything that like involves physical contact is immediately gay.
Basically, if you ever even look in the general, so it's best to just like avert your eyes at the ground.
Yeah. Or just like don't look at all. Just close your eyes.
And okay, here's something else to think about: is if you have sex with a woman, her genetic material was once a sperm sample that came from a man's penis. So you're like pretty gay for doing that. So just don't have sex with.
Why the fuck did you say that? Why the fuck did you say that? Jesus Christ! Don't fucking say that. Take it back.
Take what back?
Why?
Take it back. Take it back. Take that back.
Like how? Why? Why do I need to take it back?
Take what
Take
back?
it back.
I don't know how. I can't. Why? I didn't say anything that wasn't factual.
Take what back, though?
Fuck you, you know that? Fuck you.
Now Scrubs is really concerned. He's really questioning himself because he's like,
Wait a minute. I've had sex with a woman. Does that mean I'm gay too?
Am I gay?
Why are you straight?
Why are you gay?
Why are you straight?
why are you gay?
Alright, fucking hell. Let's go back to talking about TMNT or some shit.
Well, TMNT is very homosexual, as you know. You know, they're four teenage boys.
What have I done?
Well, I'm gonna make a YouTube video about how the TMNT is spreading the gay agenda to the kids and making them.
You know, it'd be funny if I said
These four men live in the sewers together, and also they're giant animals.
That's no fun.
Well, they're also brothers. No!
I don't.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Ew, gross. You mean that four brothers are living together? Are they,
No, but the implication is that
You know what?
You
It wasn't big enough to be like a thing, like a noteworthy thing that would piss me off. But there was when I was Googling research for my review of the 2012 and 2003 cartoons, I did find that there was a tiny little Tumblr subset of the fandom that was shipping turtles with each other.
Oh, jeez.
It was like the Raph and Leo shippers are like, oh, they fight, but it's really because they're in love. Like, oh my god.
That's... Can we just, like, all agree that shippers need to stop? Stop. Stop
like,
doing
okay,
everything.
sure,
Stop.
whatever. Okay, all right. My stance on it is, I'll say, in your weird fan art or your fan fictions, whatever. It's an unofficial product. It's your fantasy. You know, it's just for you, basically, right? You're not changing the actual piece to match that. But when you demand that the creators make shit like that canon, or or maybe you even become a creator yourself and start pushing your own shipping, that's when it's annoying. Like, my opinion is that Bruce Timm can draw all the porn he wants of Harley Quinn touching Batman's dick or whatever, which he's done plenty of times. And that's hilarious, and we stan. But don't write in a scene of Batman and Batgirl doing it on a rooftop, because now you're trying to make your fan fiction canon. You're trying to insert your ship into the thing, and it's like, it's forced, and it's like it's a detriment to the story. So if Bruce Timm wanted to make that, like, write that and publish it as a non-canon fan fiction, that it was like not officially endorsed by DC, more power to him. Sure, whatever. I don't fucking care. But the fact that it was in a DC movie, like an officially produced one, makes it weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even then, just shippers who do it for fanfic can get pretty weird at times.
They're weird, but they're not doing anything like wrong, and they're not. It's no skin off my back if they're doing that. I realize it's like, if it makes them happy, fuck it, whatever. They can draw what they want. They can write what they want. I just don't want it to be canon. So don't force the creators to make a canon, or don't get into the industry just so you can do that. Keep it off in the nebulous region of just, it's a fantasy, it's a thing just for you. Because there it can't hurt anybody, you know?
Oh, you want to talk about the most interesting and most potentially scarring part of this whole thing? Speaking of, like, fanfiction and weird shippers, have you heard of what's happening with the Omegaverse?
No, what's that? Isn't that related to like Star Trek and Axis or something?
No. Supposedly it came out like in the fan fiction of like that came from the supernatural community. And you know the TV show Supernatural on the CW, right? And like, so there's this thing where like they came up with this like fan fiction thing where there's like alphas and like betas and like omegas, and they're like, if you're like an alpha, you're like dominant, and you have like this like desire urge to mate every, like Spock Ponfar shit, except like it's like, except like they also borrowed some stuff from like Wolf and like physiology, where like you not, where it's like, oh my god, I'm describing this is like so fucking gross, but like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna describe it, which is like...
Are you trying to, like, censor yourself?
So, like, they not. Which is like... it's a thing that wolves do to like stick their get their you know what stuck in, so like they can so that they can it stays in, so that there's a greater likelihood of reproduction. And like they do that, and then there's like the betas who are like normal people, and then there's like the omegas who like have to have like these biological urges to like to reproduce. They're the ones who get pregnant, and whether they're male or female, they get pregnant, you know. And they have like an urge to need to, and they like give off these like pheromones that like alphas are really into, and it's like a fanfic trope, right? People find that hot. They write stories about that for like Supernatural, Teen Wolf, any sort of fanfiction, whatever. They just sort of, and it grows into its own thing called the Omegaverse, which has its own like rules and like tropes. It's basically
like a giant shared fan fiction universe of people with wolf penises.
Yeah, basically. And then some of these fan fiction writers start writing original stories using those tropes. And then, right now, there's a bunch of lawsuits in progress because there was one author who wrote fan fiction, then she started writing original novels, and she saw that this other writer, because she actually made a lot of money off of her original stories, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then she issued DMCA takedowns for another author based in England who was writing similar stuff. And her argument is that this stuff came from the fanfiction community, so it doesn't belong to anyone. And then the other author who put out the DMCA takedowns was like, this is what it is, this is our thing, you know, this is my thing, I invented it, you know, blah, 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 blah. So this author who issued the DMCA takedowns is being sued by the author who got her books taken down because they think it's like a free speech thing.
Wow. All this over just a bunch of stories about wolf penises.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And, like, people find it hot, which is like, you know, good for you, you know, whatever.
I guess, yeah, whatever. So wait, there's like fan fictions of like Supernatural where it had like where they try to make it canon that like was it like Dean just has one of these big knot penises?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I think there's also a big pairing with like the angel in him as well, I think. But like whoever it is, like whether you're male or you're female, then you're subject to these tropes. And that like and that you are you're either one of these things, and that's kind of like it's like a multiple genders almost. It's weird.
And this is a giant copyright battle right now over.
Exactly. It's the copyright battle over who owns, you know, wolf porn.
Who owns all this werewolf porn?
Yep.
Who is the rightful owner? Please step forward.
Ridiculous.
I know, it's great. I love it. Who owns the idea that some people have like wolf penises that like enlarge after penetration so that they stay in? Like
first world issues, am I
right? And like, to be clear, this is mostly like 40-something-year-old women who are like doing this.
Wow.
Just to be clear.
I don't know. How did you respond to that? This is. I don't know, man. It's the world, I guess. Fuck.
That's
stupid. It's weird.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Unfortunately. I don't know, man. I feel like nowadays people just get into these big debates over something that's so trivial, and that's like that can be solved very easily, but people just want to take it to the extremes because they don't know how to solve it. You know, it's like all civil life.
Yeah.
And so because of that, they just go from one extreme to the other in a matter of instant, and then this big debacle happens that fucking blows up, people getting nailed, and before you know it, it's big drama. If anything, I think that shows a lack of maturity in anything. I don't know.
I don't know. I just think. Why did I think I was related to Star Trek and Axis?
I don't know, but I'm glad that.
I feel like I heard I read a tweet somewhere where someone was talking about Omegaverse and they mentioned an Axis, so I assumed that there was like some kind of correlation. But there's really nothing other than just that they're fan projects that got out of hand.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Star Trek and Axis?
Yeah,
William?
I haven't. I think David may have mentioned it once, but
it's a Star Trek fan film that like just got so big in budget and scope that it actually just kind of stopped being a fan film and just started being like at least an independent film. And like what was it? Paramount decided to shut it down because it was like turning into a genuine competitor to Star Trek like official movies.
And it was around the same time that the Star Trek 3 was coming out.
Yeah.
So it was this whole thing. And, like, I don't really have a strong opinion about it, to be honest,
So, what would you like to upgrade, you little ball of unbridled aggression?
Yeah. So, speaking of Star Trek, you want to talk about how I'm kind of pissed off at the Paramount executives right now because they're fucking up Star Trek?
How so?
Tell
us about
because so the new Paramount because Paramount, CBS and Paramount recently merged, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that also they got a new chief CEO of Paramount Pictures, the film division. So CBS itself has been doing a bunch of Star Trek shows for the streaming networks, right? Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek blah blah blah, Star Trek blah blah blah, and Star Trek blah 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 blah. But the movies,
all stuff that's terrible.
They range from mediocre to ball to the walls, crazy weird. None of them are actually good, but I won't say they're completely rubbish. But the point is, Paramount is now trying to... It's a big... so the new CEO of Paramount Pictures, who used to be the head of 20th Century Fox movies, but, she lost her job there, so now she's at Paramount. One of her big priorities is to... one of her big priorities right now is to get a Star Trek movie off the ground.
I guess I'll have to do them too.
And
good luck with that.
So there's 3 different projects they're working on right now. There's Noah Hawley, the creator of...
The guy who did Legion, which is a great show. The guy who did Legion,
which I've heard is a really good show, is working on a script. It's been in pre-production for a while. They're almost at the point of canceling that one, and I'm kind of pissed because apparently their main reason is that first of all it's going to have a new cast, and second of all it's going to have it's going to be about like a virus, and like some people are thinking like, oh, that might be controversial right now, and I'm like, well, maybe that's what Star Trek should be, Maybe we should have some social commentary in our Star Trek for once, Like, maybe that's what Star Trek is about, Maybe.
Star Trek and social commentary? I don't buy it.
I know. It's ridiculous, but sometimes it's true. And then, they haven't quite killed that script yet, but they're thinking about it. And,
they're trying real hard.
Yeah, and then the other 2 Star Trek scripts are the Quentin Tarantino idea. He gave the story idea. He gave it to another writer to write it, and he's probably not going to direct it. So that one's rumored to be like it's inspired by the Star Trek original series episode that's like with like gangsters in the 30s. So it's going to be like really weird sort of time travel, but like gangsters and stuff. So you can see how Quentin Tarantino would like that. And then
dude.
And then the other project, which was it's just Star Trek 4, but Chris Hemsworth comes back as Kirk's dad because of his daddy issues.
So his dad gets revived?
Time travel.
Okay, the whole reason for that is not because it would make a great story, it's because Chris Hemsworth was just randomly, accidentally in the first of that trilogy before anyone knew who he was. He was just some rando guy that was in there for one scene, and then he accidentally became like one of the biggest name actors in Hollywood and is like this massive icon now. And they're oh shit, we should get him back now because he's famous. Even though his bit part was just be in this movie for one scene and die.
Yeah, so that's the one that they're thinking about trying to revive, except that one fell apart because of contract negotiations, because Chris Hemsworth, like they said, he became a big star, so he wanted a big paycheck, but after, the budget went, really over budget on Star Trek Beyond, so this time they wanted to be a little bit more responsible budget-wise. And they're trying to so the negotiations fell apart because of that. And now, who the fuck knows? And I'm kind of disappointed because I think the Noah Hawley idea would have been really interesting. But no, they're just going to try and do more of, that original Star Trek, the original Star Trek trilogy, which was, even in 2016, people were getting tired of that shit. So, the fact that they're trying to revive it now is just embarrassing to me. So I'm just I love how they're going with the least creative option.
Well, because they don't have the confidence that Star Trek can be popular if they just do it right. They think they need to Marvelify it, or they need to make it they think they need to dumb it down in this thing insane and stupid and plot twist and explosion and murder and
they really make just Star Wars.
They want to make it like Star Wars or something. But just the simplest option is just have new ideas, but do it the way you were doing it back when. So because it was popular in mainstream for decades.
So here's the thing, the big thing that I take umbrage with is that these new movies are convinced that audiences won't be interested if they don't have the characters that we know and love. But I'm no. Remember the Next Generation? People are able to buy a new cast if the characters are interesting. And I just want to see some new characters and a new story. And that's why I'm interested in Season 3 of Discovery, because there's such a status quo shift. Because at the end of Season 2, what they ended up doing was heading 1,000 years into the future. And I find that interesting to have imagine that the one ship out of in a galaxy that's completely unrecognizable, and they kind of have to start building the Federation up from scratch because they're not as powerful as they used to be. That's interesting. But I don't want to see Star Trek 4 starring Chris Pine. Look, Chris Pine is doing just fine. He's got the Wonder Woman movies. He doesn't need another paycheck.
He's got stuff going on.
I just Chris Hemsworth has got Thor 3 on the way. So I'm if they got enough gigs, we don't need to. I don't want them to I don't want them to Men in Black International this movie. Like, you know what I'm saying there?
Oh, Men in Black International. I forgot that one existed.
I'm just saying, that's what's gonna happen if they just do Star Trek 4. We're gonna have another, like, forgettable movie that, like, nobody will remember. Like, let's be honest, which one of you guys remembers Star Trek Beyond, if you saw it?
I don't think I've seen it.
Like, Idris Elba...
It'd be hilarious if you actually did, William. Like, you saw it in theaters on opening day, and it was just that bad.
Like, Idris Elba like, Idris Elba in his Scooby-Doo costume, like, what the fuck was that shit, you know?
Hey, in all fairness, that was a pretty decent costume.
And remember when Suicide Squad won the Oscar?
Suicide Squad for the makeup Oscar, though.
Yeah.
Somehow.
How do you guys feel about the idea of reboots and, like, having stuff be rebooted in such a short amount of time?
Well, it's fine,
like, from it being released. Like, I don't know, it's become a thing that's getting so popular nowadays where it's like,
I mean,
one interpretation or adaptation of something.
Well, if you're talking about Star Trek, that's fine.
Like,
you know, reboots are fine to have a new take on this character or a new take on this universe or try to advance the themes in the story. It's just that the problem with the current sort of regime at Paramount and CBS is that they think that we'll only be interested if we see the characters that we're familiar with. And I'm like, no, that's bad. Bad. I don't like that.
Well, I just mean sort of like the whole concept of a movie comes out, people aren't exactly as receptive to it as the producers or like the filmmakers or whoever hope the audience to be.
Well, here's the big problem, you know? The problem isn't that there's a reboot, it's just that the reboots are bad when they just try to do they just try to do the previous movie again. That's the problem, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But what do you think, Xavier?
About what they should do with new Star Trek shit?
No, just reboots. Like, what are your
reboots
thoughts on
in
that?
general? It's a little irritating when it's like it feels hard to get attached to any like story or character if they're just gonna like do it over again in like 3 years if one of the movies isn't profitable.
But like my point is that like Men in Black International is the biggest example of this. It's the biggest example of like just creative bankruptcy in terms of making a sequel because it's just painfully obvious that they just tried to do the first movie again. You know?
They were like, yeah, we'll just get two famous people who are like, you know, like hot right now and like their names big.
You know, like we'll try to make them have a fun little bantery relationship. It's like they took all the stuff from the original movie and just said, let's do that again.
But it's a different character, so clearly, well, yeah, okay. I think this does kind of go hand in hand with the Star Trek thing. Is one of the problems I think Star Trek sometimes has with its like more modern stories is that I think they're afraid to have new characters, but when they do, they make them like equivalent to one that already exists. So it's like, oh, that's the Spock of this show. Oh, that's the McCoy. Like, I feel like what they were trying to do with Men in Black International is like, here's those characters again, right? Is that what happened? Because I haven't seen it. That's just kind of what I've heard from people. And it's just like, well, yeah, like they're different actors and they're different characters, but they're essentially like filling the same role, and you're just telling the same story. So maybe experiment with like coming up with new characters that are actually new and not just like think about the Ghostbusters movie. Like, here's the Egon, here's the Ray, like they're all of them are just like the female equivalent. They're not their own characters. They're just one we already saw. if you want to come up with a new cast, actually come up with a new cast instead of just doing like a really superficial change, but writing them the same and their place in the story the same.
So like reskinning them basically.
Yeah. Don't when you're doing a reboot, either commit to just trying to do a different take on a that's existed already, or like you make a new one, but don't try and play it halfway and then just reskin someone that we've already seen, and then wonder why they're not as like memorable or charismatic.
So with that being said, how would you feel about certain reboots like I don't know, Batman and Batman vs Superman, or just the Spider-Man movie reboots?
Well, like I said, it feels weird and like difficult to get attached now. Like every time I watch a new version of any superhero thing, I've just gotten this cynical mindset is that if I don't like this one, they'll replace it soon enough. But like, I don't know.
So Tacos299 says, "What are we? Some kind of Ghostbusters adventure? Answer the call." And Jacques
what are we? Some kind of Ghostbusters Answer the Call, also starring Chris Hemsworth.
And then he says,
"He's in a lot. He's like."
Jack 552 says, "What are we? Some kind of Men in Black International?"
Okay. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that Chris Hemsworth has like some kind of like clause in his contract somewhere with like Sony that they can just cast him as like one of the leads in any like shitty reboot they want for any franchise that they have? So if they were to theoretically take the rights back from Marvel for Spider-Man, they could force him to be in that too. Because that's 2 now he's been in, and I'm like wondering, like, is his agent just like an idiot and like really good friends with like a Sony executive? Or
Listen. He was also in The Huntsman: Winter's War. Remember that?
Oh, you're right.
I haven't seen that.
It's bad.
Because there was Snow White in The Huntsman,
where he was like a supporting character.
Snow White, but sexy and violent and actiony and boners and Chris Hemsworth's muscles and Kristen Stewart back when she was still relevant. And then they're like, let's make a sequel to that. And Kristen Stewart's like, I'm not going to. And they're like, okay, we'll just make it about just the Chris Hemsworth character that we added.
And then they added a romance with Jessica Chastain. Remember when she was in that movie?
I don't even know who that is.
She was the villain in Dark Phoenix.
Oh,
she was fuck. I mean, fuck.
I don't know who
Look at the map of like the on the background. So there's lots of beavers, commies friendly, and then Australia is crikey.
Crikey Crocs.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I've just been kind of like laying here. Are we getting close to the... Oh man, there's still like kind of a lot to do.
So I figure what we could do is
It's like a little bit, and I can hear myself like mouthing, and it's spiking so bad.
Like you.
Well, it's because my headphones died ages ago.
Why do you have headphones?
Why do you have headphones?
For privacy reasons? I don't know. Why do you?
Well, because it would sound weird to have like the microphone picking up the game audio in addition to having the game audio from the game.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
You hack fraud.
Oh look, it's the robot! I get to kill the giant robot General Armquist!
Oh yeah, I fucking love this boss fight. It's a lot cooler and more dynamic. Wasn't Pandemic Studios an Australian game development company? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. No, they will.
Or Pandemic Games, because they made these. They made the Destroy All Humans series.
They were gonna make a Dark Knight game, like based on the movie, which sounded a lot like Arkham Knight, in that you could ride the Batmobile on the Batpod at any time. The game was open world. yeah, you could do like a bunch of stuff. You could like glide everywhere.
Look at this boss. He's fucking sick.
The reason that didn't work out is because just complications in the engine, budget, money, behind the scenes drama. So the license went to Rocksteady. Arkham Asylum became a thing. Yeah.
I really have to go to the bathroom.
Just go to your bathroom, but keep the headphones on so we can shit talk you and you can hear it.
The headphones are dead, so they're just charging. So
Fuck you! We'll go to the bathroom. Scrubs and I will be cool kids without you.
Just go on your phone in the bathroom and speak to us there. You reckon he left?
I think he did.
Okay, he deafened himself.
What a loser.
What a fucking loser. Who the fuck doesn't want to hear himself getting trash talked by his friends?
I don't know, but anybody who doesn't want to hear themselves getting trash talked by their friends is no friend of mine.
I say the same. Fucking fiend hack fraud.
It's in my contract, you know. If you want to be friends with me, you have to sign this contract.
Yeah. See, I had to sign it when I first started speaking to you, and that's why you gave me a follow on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. If I hadn't done that, you would have been like, "Who the fuck are you again?" What are we? Some kind of cautiously realistic?
What are you? Some kind of cautiously realism person?
The way you butchered that. What are we? Some kind of
cautiously realistic?
Realism is realistic? Is that what we are?
Is that what we are?
Man, this boss fight is pretty intense. I like how open it is.
Yeah.
Have we gotten many boss fights in this game like that?
Not a lot.
Like any boss fights at all? I love how this is a trope in like early 2000s games or just like, yeah, early 2000s games or like 2000s like that era of games where it's like you're fighting it's still a thing that happens nowadays, I guess, but like you're fighting the main antagonist, like the boss, but then you have a bunch of his like goons or minions or whatever just like attacking you as a means of
my god, that was some bad glitching out right there.
Oh, it's a bit delayed, so. Oh, right, oof.
Hello.
Oh, hey, we were talking shit about you.
Yeah, we were because every moment of our lives revolves around whether or not we are talking about you.
Right, yes. Because the world revolves around a single person.
The world revolves around Xavier Firecrotch Mendoza.
Xavier Firecrotch Mendoza.
Yeah. When you get that? Remember that reference, Xavier?
Kind of. That was ages ago. What was that? What was that in?
That was when I made a meme. I took a funny picture of you, and then I sent it to our friend Jackson, who's been in some of the videos. And like,
oh yeah, Jackson. I knew he was involved somehow because I remember him talking too.
He came up with that meme name of you.
What are you, some kind of animated scrub? That's exactly what I am, sir.
My cat is here.
Animated scrubs. And all scrubs animate, and I'm the embodiment of every single scrub.
Aww! Ow. I heard that noise. It was a cute cat noise.
Yeah, it's Monkey. He does that. He makes that noise. Goes all like.
You said monkey, but like in my head, I sort of like processed it in Shrek's voice, but instead of saying donkey, it's monkey.
Monkey. And then
Monkey.
there's another cat panda. He just walked up.
Why do you have another cat panda? Yeah, this is a good boss fight. I like this. You know.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about the Shrek movies?
They're fine. They're perfectly adequate.
I like the first one the most.
I think the second one's pretty good.
Yeah, the second one's pretty good. I don't really... What's weird is, like, I love the second one and the first one a lot. Like, they're really good childhood memory movies for me. But, I cannot remember a whole lot about the third and fourth one, despite seeing them multiple times. And, like, every time I think I remember a scene from one of them, I'll, like, check, and it's, like, from the opposite one. Like, they just get mixed together in my head.
See, I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
The sequels are not bad. They're just, like, I don't know. It's like... They take place in a lot of the same locations and kind of cover a couple of the same story themes as each other. So it's kind of easy for them to bleed together. I guess in a sense you could almost interpret it like they're just, you know, parts of a bigger story. But they don't feel really, like, self-contained anymore after the first one.
That's fair, I guess. You guys ever play any of the games?
One of them, but I can't remember which one. I thought it was, like, fine. I think it was, like, Shrek the Third, the game.
Wow, this is a pretty good boss fight, I gotta say. It's pretty decent. You know,
yeah,
the way
I love
they
how
ramp
they
up the difficulty, I think is good. It's a good progression.
Well, I appreciate that they gave him a lot more moves. Like, he has so many more guns, and his mobility is so much improved. Like, this guy is way tougher this time, but, like, not in, like, an annoying, it's difficult way, but in, like, you feel more evenly matched way. Because, like, my strategy in the original was to just hide behind that fucking boat and just shoot him in the head, and then hide, and then shoot him in the head. You know? And he's just slow and was, like, kind of just one of the normal robots, but bigger.
Yeah.
Now he's got all these... He's fucking launching an airstrike on you right now. He's sick. And look, he's like shooting like 100 guns out of the front of the robot. Like, this is insane. There's so many weapons going off right now.
The thing that I feel like a lot of developers don't get about boss fights is that they're not supposed to be easy.
Oh, this cutscene is fucked up. This cutscene is really horrible, and I love it.
They're supposed to be like a test to see whether, like, what you've learned throughout the game up until that point has, like, been, you know, is stuck with you. And I feel like a lot of developers don't see it as that. They just see it as like, oh, it's a thing that we got to put now because people expect it to be there.
All right. Let's just try and let this cutscene roll so they can hear it.
Before I do the rant.
Pathetic human.
Jeez, turn him to ash.
Yes! Mission successful! So...
Fucking hell, man.
Psych! He just blows him up.
So
it's
anyway,
fucked up.
It's a little bit after midnight.
You're like...
It's a little bit... So anyway, guys, it's a little bit after midnight, so how do you guys feel about wrapping up here and resuming?
I think that's good. My throat's starting to get raw from talking so
I'm pretty
long.
low on energy, if you guys can tell.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired, and my throat hurts. But we're close enough that we'll definitely finish this game next stream.
And then if we're a little bit short on time, I'll just play some mini games to fill the time. You know. Yeah. So anyway,
there's plenty of other stuff.
See you next week, friends, Romans.
See you next week, gang. You're all swell fellas and fell swellas. See you around.